sort of. That could be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on if you like holidays or not, but it means we may get more rest next week. So that's good. What a show we have today. Just an absolute S show on Capitol Hill. And I can't wait to show you so many funny clips. I mean, funny as in, laugh so you don't cry. Some are actually funny, but it depends on how you look at it. Hey, Fax.
Hi, Police. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you.
Hanging in there. Is it
Yes.
cold? What's the temperature like in Vermont?
Like 19-ish.
Jeez. Yeah, I know. I should
Like
stop
sweater-
complaining.
sweater-
I have this
sweater
morning. I
weather.
was like, it's so cold. I really need to stop acting like I'm cold. Guys, tap the screen. Tap, tap, tap. I appreciate the engagement so much this week. Thank you for tapping the screen. Tapping is clapping. Tap as much as you can throughout the live. Again, please gift our guest Fax. That's also his Cash App and Venmo. This is mine. If you would like to support us, that's the best way. And we will read whatever messages, Christmas messages, well wishes, thoughts, questions, comments, concerns, questions about what we're talking about during the show. Whatever it is, if you send us a message through Cash App and Venmo, we will do our best to read them aloud as soon as possible. Please subscribe if you want to subscribe. You can also subscribe to Fax through his profile as well. You just have to click through and you can do that as well. Subscriptions are much appreciated. I'm trying to get to 500 subscriptions for the first time ever. So if you would like to support me in that goal, it is much, much appreciated.
Do you mind if I did a quick PSA?
Oh, absolutely.
So this morning we did a live. It was dedicated to our friends Brett and Nikki Cross. For those of you who know, their child Uzziah was lost his life at Robb Elementary School, and Brett and Nikki and I, we've all become friends, and we did a fundraiser for them this morning. We raised nearly $1,000. It's actually just over $1,000, and we are selling a T-shirt that we published in support of this event. About children's screams. Has to do with a very, very captivating screenshot that was. Actually, I can show you if I can. Actually, I'll get feedback.
If you text it to me, I can put it up. Thank you for subscribing, Jess. Yeah, just text it over to me, and I can display it for you.
You got it. I'll do that. And the link to the shirt is in my bio. And it's the merch store, and any and all profits from the sales of those shirts will go directly to them. So thank you all for letting me do that. I appreciate you.
And then when more people are in here, I was going to say, if you want to wait and do that and kind of give an update too, because I know people were really worried and concerned about Brett, and I don't only have, the basic information that had come out. So if more people are in here, we could, take a break, or even at the end, whenever, if you want to. I'm sure you have a lot of information about what, what happened, and then, like any updates, because I just knew the bare minimum that Chelsea had texted me, and I sent out the sheriff's number, the sheriff's office number, but that's about all I knew at this point.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Okay, yeah. And if you want to text me that, I can put that up at some point. Where was I? Oh, yes, guys. I'm streaming to YouTube, to Twitch, and to X. If you guys would like to, please follow me on YouTube and follow me here. Follow Fax as well. If you're not following us, just follow us now. That would be much, much appreciated. And just a reminder, whenever I'm live, if it's Debating with Pickles, if it's the Fax and Felice show every Monday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern, the People's Receipts, or the broadcast on Tuesdays, all of those replays are always available on YouTube. So you can get those. Oh, and last but not least, here we go. If you would like a link to the Discord, all the clips and articles we're going to go through are in the outline every day in the Discord. Fax is private. Jan said you're private, Fax. Someone said they tried to follow you and it says you're private.
Nope.
I don't think
I'm an open book, Felice. I'm a total open book.
No, I mean private is it, if someone sets their profile to private.
Yeah, no, I'm
I
definitely
know.
not.
I
I
know.
just
That's
checked.
crazy. Well, TikTok, there's a lot of weird glitches on TikTok sometimes. Well, with that being said, we have a lot to get to. We have an absolute S show going on at Capitol Hill. It's just never ending, and we should get to it. Thank you so much for subscribing, Chet. I so appreciate it. I'm trying to get to 500 subscriptions, so it is much appreciated. Like I do, I'm going to start with some things that, happened today. And with Chris Murphy, I am so impressed with Chris Murphy. I was telling facts before this, and I know I went on a rant, I think on Wednesday. I'm so upset that the leadership in the Senate there's no change. I think we need to have some younger Democratic senators moving into some leadership positions and, being seen and heard more. I love Chuck Schumer, but have you noticed how he just reads his speeches from a piece of paper, like looking down?
Yeah, it drives me crazy.
Me,
Stylistically, drives me nuts. No eye contact. Can't stand it.
I know, and it's like why don't you let Cory Booker read your speech? It's like you write
Oh,
them,
that's a
Chuck.
good call.
Yeah, you know what I mean. You write them, Chuck, and we'll have an actor like read them and work the crowd or something. I don't know. We have to do something about the Senate Democrats. I'm not going to let up on this. But
That's a
like I
great
said,
call. I love that idea.
I know exactly. Just all like Dick Durbin. Everyone has a younger stand-in who reads your stuff. Oh, but like I
Yeah.
said, Chris Murphy's my favorite. It's not that I didn't like him. I just see him now. When things go really bad, you never know. We all have an opportunity to rise to the occasion and say, "Hey, like people need me right now, and I'm gonna communicate. I'm gonna make myself available, and I'm gonna drive a narrative." And that's what I see Chris Murphy doing so consistently. I love it. And he was on the Senate floor yesterday, just talking for a little bit, and I just wanted to play a clip of it because why did you stop with the other dude? Are you talking about Pickles? Sorry, I have ADHD, so I just read that. If you mean Pickles, we were debating together last night. Fax and I do the People's Receipts on Friday, and then we have the Fax and Felice show on Monday mornings. Pickles and I do People's Receipts Monday, Tuesday, or Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, right? Tuesdays are the broadcast. Same schedule roughly all the time. Yeah. So Fridays, Fax will be on the People's Receipts unless he has capitalism to do. Oh, cool. I'll put this up. I'll put this up in 1 second while we're playing. So again, we're basically what I want to do today is just take you guys on a journey of the absolute S show that has been going on Capitol Hill relating to the shutdown. And I mean, when I say S show, I mean Republicans. I'm pleasantly surprised. I really like what the Democrats are doing. I like the communication. I like that they're in lockstep. I like the fire. What's your thought on
Yeah.
that?
I don't disagree. The only thing that I don't I don't disagree with that. Except you hear Mike Johnson last night saying two Democrats kept farmers poor and didn't pass other pieces of legislation when it's 38 Republicans that decided to vote against it, including Chip Roy. And on Truth Social, Donald Trump has gone after Chip Roy very, very eloquently as the orange ass clown can get.
Oh yeah, and we're gonna go. Yeah, and we'll go through all of that. I agree, but that is like just as someone who sees patterns, that's every time. Every time the Republicans do this, they try to pin it on the Democrats. But I mean, all you have to do is have a basic knowledge of how the government works, and if you don't get that bill out of the House, which is
you have the majority.
controlled
That's what you
by
wanted.
the Republicans.
Exactly.
Like step one, if you want to avert a government shutdown, move the continued resolution out of the House. Like we have not passed step one yet. So, but I know I do love them trying. They're trying really hard to make it seem like it's someone else's fault, but also blaming each other. It's like Mike Johnson's like, "Oh, it's not my fault." I'm like, "That's really funny because 10 of your colleagues were just screaming for you to be fired."
True. I mean, again, we're going to have that speaker vote in January again. That's going to be interesting to watch.
Get
more
your
chaos.
popcorn.
Would
I
you
don't know
agree?
if
It
he's going
seems
to
like
survive. I
I don't know
thought he
either.
would.
It seems like the Republicans, especially in the House, would just don't want to be in the position of power. Like they don't want to be the majority. They want to be the minority. They want to be the chaos party, but they actually have to govern, and they're not capable. They've proven that to us.
Oh
They're just
yeah,
not capable.
the only thing they can do is complain, which it's best not to be in power when that's what you ought to do is just stick your
Yeah.
heels in and drag your feet and refuse to participate. And they have this like all or nothing idea. It has to be everything we want, or we throw our toys out of the pram and cry. Guys, keep tapping the screen as we go through this. Tapping is clapping. Again, this is my new favorite senator, Chris Murphy from Connecticut, looking and sounding very presidential yesterday. He's been consistently pointing out that a Republican oligarchy is for big while we all sit here. And I appreciate him for it. Have a listen.
Great. I agree.
It's really important that we lay out what's happening here, because this is how a democracy vanishes. But I think it's also equally important to talk about why Donald Trump and Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy and all of his billionaire friends are engaged in this very coordinated early attack, even before he's sworn in, to try to intimidate his political opposition and bully the press. And the reason they are doing this, the reason that they are trying to suppress dissent, is because they are preparing to steal from us. Donald Trump and his billionaire buddies want to be in charge of government so that they can make themselves more wealthy at our expense. They want government contracts. They want to privatize government programs. They want to get bigger regulatory breaks. They want lower taxes. Donald Trump and his billionaire cronies want government to serve them. But they know the only way they get away with that is if no one holds them accountable. So in order to steal from us, they have to silence political opposition, intimidate activists into submission, and try to get the press to fold. If they do that, then they can get away with using government as a mechanism to enrich themselves.
Oh, so well said. So well said. Such a great communicator. That's exactly what's going on while we watch. And I would have said Jeff Bezos would never have joined, but like as things go on, things are looking crazier and crazier. And listen to this, okay? Because we talked about it yesterday, right? I showed you the clips yesterday of Jeff Bezos at Mar-a-Lago with his, I think now wife. I was going to say girlfriend, one-time side piece, now wife Lauren Sanchez. W Cobra Commander, thank you so much for subscribing. I appreciate it so much. Now listen to this, and this is reporting, I think, first by the New York Times. I saw this article last night and I was like, holy shit, this is why I think the relationship between Trump and Elon cannot last that long. Two narcissists cannot, their egos are too big. Listen to what and this is New York Times, so it's probably Maggie Haberman, and she would know.
Quote, billionaire rivals Bezos and Musk dined with Trump at Mar-a-Lago, the Times reports. Musk was not initially expected to be part of the dinner, but joined as it was underway. A very sort of diplomatic, classy language for what it sounds like, according to the Times, was a crashing or unplanned addition.
But an hour into the dinner, Elon Musk showed up and sat between them at the table. Even Trump was like, okay, this is actually starting to freak me out. Okay, you got to get a friend. To settle who he loves more, Elon and Bezos are going to put Trump down in the middle of the room and see who he goes to first. Here, boy, come here. No, me, he loves me. Come here.
Trump has gotten in over his head. He doesn't understand. Musk is a total egomaniac, and he's made Trump look small.
Musk was not initially invited to the meal, but joined it after it began on Wednesday.
Trump thought that he would bend like Bezos did with the Washington Post and all the other techies that have, kissed.
My former governor, by the way.
What'd you say?
So that was my former governor, Howard Dean.
Oh, Howard Dean. I forgot him. Is that was Howard Dean?
Yes, it was.
Oh my gosh, he looks like he's maybe skinnier. I did not recognize him. Wow.
That's what happens when we get older.
Time flies when you're having fun, Howard. Wow. Guys, keep tapping the screen. Let's get to 50K as fast as possible. I know, Paige, it does not look like Howard Dean. I know.
Felice, it's funny with Trump stomping his feet over things like that. Did you happen to see his post yesterday on True Social?
Oh, it's probably in this presentation. Yeah. On which one? So many.
When he said, "Everybody wants to be my friend."
Oh yeah. No, that was 2 days ago. Yes. Everybody loves me. And he's feeling that way. You mean everyone's leveraging you and you're leveraging everyone else? But I mean, this is
exactly.
And I think he's more like, because, think about it. Tim Cook, or as Trump calls him, Tim Apple, the day he thought he'd be, hanging out on the patio at Mar-a-Lago with Tim Apple, that was he never saw that coming. Now Jeff Bezos is there to like pay him lip service. Like the oligarchy is coming together. He always wanted to be an authoritarian dictator, surrounded by other billionaires. His dreams are coming true. This is amazing. So I believe, if I'm right about the next clip, the Lincoln Project. Have you seen what the Lincoln Project made? They make some great videos.
The Lincoln Project salutes Vice President Donald Trump. As Vice President, Trump will finally have the time to do the things that make him happiest. Talk about old movies, playing on his phone, admiring the assets of other men. Meanwhile, President Musk can get down to the business of running the country. We at the Lincoln Project are confident that Donald Trump understands his position. Elon is smarter, wealthier, more charismatic, has a far superior and more successful social media platform and company, is more successful with women, and a better dancer. As President Musk and his assistant J.D. Vance select appointees and write policies, we feel certain Trump will play his part because he's a good boy. Who's a good boy? Trump's a good boy.
Boom goes the dynamite. This is killing Trump. This is killing
Life
him.
Imitates art.
It's who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?
Who's a good boy?
Like this. Look at him hugging the stupid flag. Dude, what a good one. Remember CPAC?
Oh my god.
That was probably, and then, truly, that was the orangest, and it was so orange it wasn't orange anymore. You know what I mean? He was like an old piece of leather. Like that was the color.
He was like reflecting. It was like remember the little badges we had on our bikes when we were kids, like the little in the spoke badges, like the reflector buttons.
I thought my TV was messed up. I was like, "Is this the color of my TV?" I was like trying to adjust the tint. I was like, "No, that's the color Trump painted himself." Okay, so yeah, don't worry. We have a ton of hilarious clips today. Laugh so we don't cry. I know some of you are probably going to say it's not funny, but we must laugh our way through this so we don't cry. We are going to go sort of in chronological order on a journey through this absolute S show the Republicans put on Capitol Hill yesterday. But I just want to give an update of where we're at now with the actual government shutdown, because this is probably going to affect all of our lives. And I swear, the New York Times and the Washington Post, you know how they're doing like the minute by minute updates? One of the last updates is like, Dusty Baker, who's like a Republican, is like, "Oh, we're probably it's just going to be a small shutdown." And Johnson is saying like probably just the weekend. But the cost of shutting the government down and opening it back up is just even if it's show you what they're working on now. The Republicans are in private conference arguing with each other and getting nothing done, but it looks like they're going to do two separate bills. And here, this part had a bullet point, so I think this is the best place to look at it. So the first bill is going to be a clean extension of current fiscal levels until mid-March. That includes an extension of a farm bill that requires reauthorization, and then a separate standalone bill for $110 billion. That's the disaster relief to help and also aid to farmers. And then you could see down here, it says Republicans had no plans to vote on suspending the debt limit despite President-elect Donald Trump's repeated demands. I mean, even today, he is still saying I mean, he changed it this morning. Now he's saying through 2029. He wants to be able to run up the debt as much as possible while he's president. He's basically like, I'm robbing this beeb, and then I'm leaving.
Do you remember it was last year, right, when he was railing against Republicans? Just say no to the debt limit increase. Just say no. Don't let the Democrats win. I mean, it's talk about hypocrisy. And please don't forget, correct me if I'm wrong, but when you bring in people to identify inefficiencies in government and wasteful spending, why would you need to extend the debt limit? That's weird.
Can you? I know. God, we debating people on this. It's amazing. Being like, oh, government efficiency. Do you understand? They're adding $5 trillion to the debt. That's what Trump's trying to have them do in this bill.
But it's the most efficient $5 trillion. It's the most efficient $5 trillion.
Oh my God! And I don't even think I put it in here because there's so many good clips in here. But I saw a clip of Mike Johnson being like, "Hey, just basically, okay." He said, "Just because we're raising the debt limit," but that's essentially saying, hey, just because we're adding $5 trillion to the debt doesn't mean we're not serious about government efficiency. It's like, Mike Johnson, go hide in your office. Like, please, it's best you just go hide at this point.
Roaches for Reed.
It's so bad. Okay, so, and I just wanted to show you, I mean, I don't want to scare you guys. Again, just laugh. Because it is funny that Elon Musk crashed Jeff Bezos' meeting with Trump. But what it seems to be very disturbing about it is that they're now like tweeting at each other. Jeff Bezos is agreeing with Elon Musk on privatizing the government this morning on X. They're like buddy, like, oh yeah, it's way more efficient. And you want to know what my prediction is? I'm just going to call it out because this was, like I said, I see patterns. I think, every billionaire wants a piece of this pie. There's a lot of ways that they can, grape the American government or the bureaucracy and benefit themselves personally. And I think Bezos, because he already has a lot of the infrastructure, like if they're privatizing the United States Postal Service, this is the piece that Bezos wants.
Yeah. He wants that.
And that's why he's like, privatization he wants the USPS. I guarantee you, he already has the infrastructure. Like some reporting.
Go ahead. Yeah, there was some reporting about just again, if we're talking about efficiency, and I know you'll probably cover this because I think I saw it somewhere else in your amazing outline, where Elon Musk's wealth just since the election has increased by 135% to the tune of $276 billion just since the election, just since November.
Are you talking about Bezos or Musk?
Elon Musk.
Well, yeah, since the election, he's grown 177 billion in wealth. Like he's at
270 billion. It's crazy. So again,
he's worth a total of 400. So it can't. The math doesn't. And he was worth.
Yeah, I pulled this from MSNBC news story.
Yeah, but I think I think it's 177 because he's worth a total of 400. I know. I know what you're talking about.
What's 100 billion between friends? I mean,
I know.
Really,
amen to that. But exactly. Imagine you invest 277 million. He invested 277 million into Trump, and just since the election, has made hundreds of billions.
I'm so glad they're looking out for us, though. I feel really like my future's safe with billionaires. I totally am excited. Whew. Sign 100%. Me up. Let's go. The billionaire train.
I know. They got this. Okay. And here's a little, we could take it as, let's just take this as a joke. It's actually depressing and sad and wrong. While I'm like, yesterday, the government is shutting down, there's a crisis all over Fox. And I'm not kidding you. This commercial is running on Fox over and over and over. Tapping is clapping, guys. Let's get to 75K. Keep tapping. I really, 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 really appreciate your engagement. And please gift Facts. It is so nice for him to be here. It takes a long time to make these outlines, and I do appreciate your guys' support. So seriously, this commercial is playing on Fox all day. Well, and remember, Elon Musk starts tweeting at 4 a.m. about nobody vote for this bill, shut the government down. Trump's nowhere to be found, but this commercial is on Fox.
We love God, and we have to protect anything that is pro-God. We must defend God in the public square and not allow the media or the left-wing groups to silence, censor, or discriminate against us. We have to bring Christianity back into our lives and back into what will be again a great nation. There you have it. Let's make America pray again. God bless you, and God bless the USA.
I need out of this nightmare right now.
Oh, hell.
What? Like, what? Jesus. Yeah, like, what does he say right at the beginning?
We love God.
We love God.
Have to protect.
Well, some people do. You don't.
Protect God.
We need to protect
God, please.
Yeah, exactly. God's omnipotent, omniscient, all powerful, all knowing, omnipresent. But hey, we all need to protect God. Isn't God supposed to be protecting us?
We love God, and we have to protect anything that is pro-God. We must defend God in the public square and not allow the media or the left-wing groups to.
What about fraud? Is God for fraud? You know what I mean?
There is a brand spanking new Truth Social post promoting the Bible. So apparently, just in time for the holiday season, get your Trump Bible autographed if you'd like.
Oh no, yeah.
Because got to protect God.
He's holding. You can't really see it because the stupid banner, but this is a commercial for the Bible. Yeah, he's holding his Trump Bible. If you thought he was just doing this is so we'll all buy his Bibles. Yeah, that's what he's doing here. He's hawking Bibles while the government's shutting down. I think Jesus would want you to stop the government from shutting down. Oh, and here's your shirt, Fax. I added it. Do you want to? Guys? Yeah. Why don't you talk about Brett? Because now we have 500 people in here. Do you want to just give an update and?
Sure. So once again, our friend Brett. The other picture. You can see what that's come from. It says the sound of children screaming has been removed. So there's history from that. For those of you who don't know, the other picture that I sent you, Felice, is actually from Fox News. When they covered the story, the editor added to the clip. They removed the sound of children screaming, but they didn't remove the sound of gunfire. So that's what that's from. The sound of children screaming has been removed. The new motto for the United States of America. That shirt is available in my merch store. That's in the link in my link tree. All profits from the sales of these shirts will go directly to Brett and to Nikki, Brett and Nikki Cross. Also in the link tree in my bio, you'll notice that there's Rise for You, which is the organization that provides support for their son Uzi, whose life was taken.
Can you tell them what happened to Brett? Because I don't think everyone knows.
Yeah. Absolutely. So again, Brett and Nikki, they become friends of the family, so to speak. And yesterday they went to a court hearing where two of the officers that were involved that day were being part of the part of the case that's in process. There was a hearing there, and they went to attend a public hearing. And sadly, as they were going through the metal detectors, someone said something smarmy, and Nikki responded with the F word, and then Brent went over to talk to find out what's going on. They were both forcibly removed from the premises of a public building without being told why. Brett was brought out, perp walked, hands behind his back. Eventually they got outside. He was pushed down to the ground, and then multiple officers piled onto him, knees to his ribs, into his side. Nikki has PTSD, but she suffered some whiplash. You could see she fell pretty hard. The video is in my link tree. And I can send it to you too, please, if you need it. But so it's just a horrible state of affairs, and the entire circumstance around the community there. The people in the community have been very supportive of Nikki and Brett, but the community itself, the elected officials, obviously the sheriff's department, it's been a horrible situation for them. And again, we're raising money for them. And that T-shirt, again, available in my merch store. Link trees in my bio. All proceeds go to them, and we raised over $1,000 this morning for them.
It's amazing. Again, this T-shirt is the proceeds go to Brett Cross and his family. It link in Fax's bio. And this incident we're talking about happened yesterday to Brett and his wife. So yeah, in case I'm sure it seemed like everyone knew about this, but just in case you didn't, yeah. And we'll talk about it more. I'll try to mention this again, and I'll keep reminding everyone of this shirt. We'll remind you again on Monday, and hopefully I'll remember before the end of the show. Oh, wait, and I found the picture you were talking about. This is what Fax is talking about. This is where the idea came from, because when they were showing, when the Uvalde situation was going on, they were showing this video, and it said, editor's note, the sound of children screaming has been removed.
But the sound of gunfire was not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dark.
Yep, that hits. Again,
Yeah.
the new motto for America.
Exactly. This is real life, people. Okay, hold on.
And thank you all for the support. Much appreciated.
And guys, keep tapping the screen, share the live. If you don't have anyone to share with, please push the copy link button. Your engagement is much appreciated. Tapping is clapping. And just to, I was talking prior to us showing the Brett t-shirt. I'm talking about how Elon Musk was meeting at Mar-a-Lago with Trump, and it's being reported that Jeff Bezos was meeting with Trump at Mar-a-Lago. It's reported that Elon Musk crashed that meeting and they all were hanging out together. And I talked about this briefly yesterday, but Amazon workers are going on strike, right? The Teamsters are trying to help Amazon workers organize in different cities. I think New York's one, Skokie, Illinois, just different places where different warehouses are. And I just want you to hear the gross way that they're sort of almost mocking like these workers that are trying to unionize, and Amazon won't recognize the Teamsters or their workers' right to unionize. And this explains Jeff Bezos is very comfortably denying like workers their rights, and that's the point I want to make. Is that it's being reported. I said just today, this morning on X, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos are agreeing with each other about privatizing the government. Right? Elon Musk is famously anti-union, anti-labor. Trump praised him in a Spaces conversation they had pre-election. He said, "Oh, I think it's great. You're a union buster." And this is what they were saying on Fox News yesterday about the strike. They're almost mocking them.
Just like in terms of that issue about who people might support. This is like the port strike just a few months ago that Biden didn't really want to get involved in, and so on and so forth. And that was going into a situation where people were shopping. You couldn't get this there. And then we had Hurricane Helene. Couldn't get goods there into the hurricane areas there. So, I mean, I do get that. I just want to know what some of these conversations are like, because I don't see Elon Musk as supporting union workers. Am I wrong?
No. You're not wrong. And so, Shannon, let's talk about, we talked about the president getting involved or not getting involved. There's precedence of a president.
Clear, Joe Biden is the most pro-labor president. I mean, all of our presidents could be more pro-labor, but Joe Biden has been the most pro-labor, pro-union president we've had in, decades and decades and decades. And yeah, Jeff Bezos does not represent these workers' right to unionize or to organize. And this is being led by the Teamsters. Ironically, remember, the Teamsters is led by Sean O'Brien, who refused to endorse Joe Biden. I just want to remind you of that as well. So it's kind of ironic now. It's like, I just thought this was hilarious. Sorry.
Yeah,
This is going around on X, and I just know that it's going to really upset Trump. There's so many memes like this on X. It's amazing. Guys, keep tapping the screen. I would really appreciate it. Tapping is clapping. Tap the screen, share the live. Oh, okay. So let's get down to it. So again, actually, perfect timing, Joanna, right before I get down to the nitty gritty.
Hey y'all, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are. Hope y'all look great today. Felicia, you look gorgeous as always. Steve, you also look handsome as always. We appreciate you being here. Everybody, just wanted to hop in and say hey, and I appreciate that y'all's yapping fingers have turned into tapping fingers today. I need y'all to keep it up. We also need to get the shares up. Let's get up to 400 here fairly shortly. I feel like we can get that done in the next half an hour or so. We also can get up to 125, 150,000. We'll push it to 150. There are 568 people in here. If you haven't gifted Steve, please get on that. Mr. Facts Still Matter, as they always will, is here. We appreciate him co-hosting with us today.
Thank you, Joanne.
You're welcome. If you haven't sent your heart me, because sometimes we can get engrossed in all these phenomenal facts and forget to send heart me's, get those sent. If you're not following facts, I don't know what you're doing with your life, but you need to. If you're not following Felicia yet, I definitely don't know what you're doing with your life, but you need to do that as well.
Seriously.
If you want a link to the Discord, Message Feliz at Feliz Navidad live on TikTok and we'll get you one. If you haven't, subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can get all these replays just in case you come in late or miss something. I also don't know what you're doing with your life. That is at A Girl Has No Name on YouTube. You can get these replays of every show that we do over here, and they're all amazing. So let's get the taps up so we can all keep yapping in the chat. Let's get the shares up. Get those heart me's, get those gifts going. Appreciate it. Happy Friday.
Appreciate you. Happy Friday.
You're amazing, Joanna. Happy Friday. Okay, let's get this party started. Because, I mean, while this is an absolute S show, what happened, what's going on Capitol Hill, it is also quite entertaining watching the Republicans, shit the bed. So, again, this is Jared Moskowitz. Like, I just love his I have very dry humor, and so does Jared Moskowitz. This is Jared Moskowitz walking into Capitol Hill yesterday.
I think Comer is the hero Republicans need.
Jared Moskowitz has a very sordid relationship with James Comer. Comer is the chair of oversight and accountability. He's the one that presided alongside Jim Jordan, who chairs judiciary, trying to, have these sham impeachment trials. And Moskowitz sits on those committees and made it his personal goal to harass James Comer every single day. Yeah. And it's never ending. And yesterday was no exception. Jared Moskowitz was just walking around Capitol Hill, and like when a reporter would ask him something, he'd just be like, they should just have James Comer be the speaker.
I'm here for it. I love him. More leadership like that. Love that guy.
Oh, I know. I was so scared. He was like on the short list for FEMA director and for Trump's. And when he announced he wasn't going to do that, I was like, oh, thank God. Oh, and our star, I'm just going to give it, our MVP of yesterday and today is definitely House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. We will see a lot of him in today's show. And man, is he a leader and a star. So this is their first press conference where they start going after the Republicans for going back on the deal that they negotiated. So, and just to be clear, Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, Joe Biden, and Mike Johnson negotiated that deal. They were done negotiating it on Tuesday, but Mike Johnson was too scared to show Republicans the bill until when, like Wednesday night or something?
Yeah. The hours of the morning. Yeah.
This reckless Republican-driven shutdown can be avoided if House Republicans will simply do what is right for the American people and stick with the bipartisan agreement that they themselves negotiated.
So simple, but they can't, right? This is what they do every time. I mean, I think Mike Johnson.
I like the branding too, Felice. I've talked about messaging. I like the branding. The Republican shutdown. Own that shit. Own it.
He's I don't want to say like the spoken word, right? If you notice, he can memorize speeches that are almost like 45 minutes long because it's cadence, he is basically writing like he's like a lyricist. Yeah.
It's the Obama school of oratory. No doubt.
Yeah. Tons of alliterations, consonants, assonance. I love Hakeem Jeffries. Huge fan.
House Democrats, House Republicans, Senate Democrats, and Senate Republicans reached a bipartisan agreement to fund the government, prevent a shutdown, and meet the needs of the American people. We reached a bipartisan agreement that will help farmers, families, the future of working class Americans, children, seniors, veterans, and the men and women in uniform all across the nation and the world. That bipartisan agreement has now been detonated because House Republicans have been ordered to shut down the government and hurt the very working class Americans that many of them pretend to want to help.
That right there.
Amen. He's the best. We have some great communicators in the Democratic Party, but he's an amazing leader.
I agree. Again, it's messaging, right? We talked about this before, about this bumper sticker politics that the right has been kicking our ass at for many, many years. When you say things like the Republican shutdown, the feckless Republicans or whatever that might be, traitors to their voters, shit like that. That's the kind of stuff that I want to see over the next 4 years. Going at them.
I mean, this is all his brainchild. Like, I just want you to notice as the day develops, watch how in lockstep the Democrats are with their messaging, how they all relentlessly call Elon Musk President Musk. Like, I mean, he has them firing on all cylinders. I don't think I included in my presentation, but Sean McFarlane, because I'm obsessed with Capitol Hill. I love following Capitol Hill news. I read like the page blogs, and like he had the Democrats like chanting, when they were voting to if they were going to like help the Republicans or all vote against the bill. And like even reporters are like, hey, we've never seen a more united Democratic conference. All thanks to Hakeem Jeffries.
Thank you, sir. If Mike Johnson puts out something that's amiable to Democrats, he may face a revolt in the House Republican conference on the speakership vote on January 3rd. Would Democrats consider voting for him in that vote if he does something amiable to you with the CR?
No. Mr. Leader.
No. Next question. I love him. Like, I just can't. Oopsies. Sorry. I did that on accident. Give me 1 second. Or I don't even know why that happened, but.
It's like inside of your brain. That's what I imagine it looks like with all that stuff going on there, Felice.
Oh, what? It is. I mean, I have like a near photographic memory. So, yeah, there's a lot of things in my. Why does it keep doing that? There's a lot of things in my brain. It does, and it all has a pattern and an order.
Controlled chaos.
Yeah, I'm a little bit. Oh, and this is Kathleen Clark. If you guys don't know, she's the minority whip. So she's the third ranking Democrat in Congress.
We are going to be here and stand together as Democrats to make sure the American people get what they need out of this. That is our focus. So yes, fundamentally, this is a difficult time for people. But what's really hard, if you are already struggling to pay your bills, and all of a sudden the aid for your small business that you thought was coming is going to not come because Elon Musk and Donald Trump decided that to inject this chaos and hardship into your life. Those are the people we care about. The military families who won't get paid. The people who are counting on their Social Security benefits arriving on time because that is their lifeline. That is where our focus is, making sure that those Americans come through this unscathed. And that's why we will remain here to get the job done for them.
Love Kathleen Clark. Well said. W. Neal, thank you so much for subscribing. I appreciate it so much. Okay, and I love me some Robert Garcia, the former mayor of Long Beach. He's absolutely fabulous. Another rising star.
Well, first, welcome to the Elon Musk presidency, one where Donald Trump has been relegated to be the vice president. Clearly, what Elon Musk wants, Elon Musk is going to get. And what we're at right now is complete chaos on the Republican side. We have a government shutdown that is looming, that is real, right before Christmas. And we should be really clear. What we're talking about here is not paying our military members during the holidays, not paying our TSA workers during the holidays, not paying the people that are working on all of our holiday travel, that are out there working for us every single day. So this is an incredibly serious moment. It's one where Speaker Johnson has lost complete control, and clearly where Elon Musk is pulling the strings of what Republicans should be doing. So it's quite chaotic, but Democrats are united. We had a bipartisan deal negotiated, and they've completely gone and turned their backs.
I tried to find some data somewhere, Felice, about because there's a large chunk of federal employees that have to work whether or not they get paid.
Yeah.
So then there's furlough,
TSA has to work unpaid. Yeah. Air traffic controllers. Yeah. Yeah. And can you imagine how bitter they're about? Yeah, they're about to have to work through the holidays, possibly unpaid. W. Ganny Rocks, thank you so much for subscribing. I appreciate it so much. Yeah, there's like essential and non-essential, and I think the essentials, whether they're being paid or not. Have to work. It's quite disturbing. Now let's see what was going on Fox. It was gross.
Yeah.
That slush fund that they get, access to for all these years that was revealed. Look, at the end of the day,
talking about this is a common ridiculous talking point. There's there's a fund that if there's any lawsuits, it's not just SA lawsuits, I guess, but there's a slush fund if any congressional people, I guess, have lawsuits brought against them that they pay out. I don't know why they always bring that up. It's one of their weird conspiracy theories.
I think that this is sort of a good illustration of the old guard and the old ways bumping up against it. No, actually, we're not going to do that anymore. No, just because it's tradition or just because it's baked into the institution or it has been concretized as such, we will no longer accept it. And I like that the power of the people was reflected in that pressure. I think all too often we see on the internet and in social media a sort of mass energy that's pointed toward either nonsense or something that the CCP wants us to be, wants it to be turned toward. If it's actually toward civic engagement for the betterment of us in the way of efficiency, that's phenomenal.
What are you talking about, lady? I mean, the people, where do they get these people? Do they have no idea what's going on, or are they pathological liars? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes. It doesn't matter.
You think the CCP, how about the Republicans are the one? You know what was removed out of that bill when they voted again yesterday? Was they were trying to regulate investment in China because you guys are so worried about the CCP. And you know who wanted that taken out? Elon Musk.
Of course he did.
The guy who owns factories and car factories. And I'm sure Tim Apple did too. So it's really funny. They're always talking about the CCP when it's them that removed that part from the bill, which we'll get to later. I love Debbie Wasserman Schultz. This woman was amazing yesterday.
Would have provided that relief in this package. And what Mike Johnson needs to do is go see the wizard and find some courage to stand up to an unelected billionaire who stands to make even more money when the tax cuts that they are planning next year come through. And that's why they want to increase the debt ceiling, so they can leave themselves more room to take care of billionaires. We need to stay here, pass the bipartisan agreement, and make sure that our farmers, our seniors, our small businesses, and the folks who had their lives devastated by these hurricanes are made whole again.
Yeah, I must be on the redemption tour with her because I'm not a fan of Debbie, but I'll appreciate that.
What you mean since the Bernie thing? Listen, I'm sorry, but we have to get past it. If you think it was her choice, she was just the patsy that everyone blamed. That's exactly rich people's donors of the Republican Party's choices. I'm not going to blame a woman who was in charge, but no, she tears it up on the Oversight and Accountability Committee. This woman is amazing.
So, what is your level of bright spots in Florida?
Her and Moskowitz
right now,
and Maxwell Frost.
Max Frost. Yep.
Your level of confidence, Congresswoman, right now that lawmakers can avoid a government shutdown?
Well, that is what Donald Trump and President Musk have called for. I mean, they essentially said, you should reject this deal and shut the government down. The government shuts down tomorrow night. We have the ability to avoid that by making sure that the agreement that we came to is passed and signed by President Biden, who is the sitting president now. And President Musk needs to take a step back because we're not going to we're not going to listen to an unelected billionaire who is threatening his Republican colleagues in the House who are cowering in the corner because they are afraid of a primary. They all need to go stiffen their spines and come to the table, get this agreement passed so we can take care of seniors, small businesses, farmers, and the people who were devastated by it.
So what is your level of...
Well said, Debbie. And this is your girl, Becca Balint. She was amazing yesterday. This is the representative from Fax's home state, Vermont. She was everywhere. She was on podcasts yesterday.
Former teacher.
Billionaires are running the show here. And so what I want to say to people is you thought you voted for Trump. You didn't actually. You voted for billionaires to run the show because who's taking orders from whom? Musk is calling the shots, and the House GOP is falling in line. And these billionaires, they don't care about us. They don't care about Americans. Elon Musk wants a big, massive tax break in the next administration. That's what this is about, folks. It's about a big freaking tax break for billionaires. That's what it's about. Don't be confused about what's going on here.
Do you think we'll be in a shutdown?
Oh, I do. I do, because they don't care. They don't care. And Johnson is so worried about his speakership that he's going to cave. He's going to cave. My Republican colleagues are going to cave because they're too afraid of being primaried to do the right thing. That's what this is about.
The Progressive Caucus was everywhere on Capitol Hill. If there was a microphone to yell something into, the Progressive Caucus was yelling into it. I was so proud.
Don't piss off a teacher, especially one from Vermont.
Oh, amen. I'm former teacher here, and I've never been angrier in my life than watching authoritarian oligarchy take hold.
Yeah.
Oh, and this is, I love, if you don't know, I think is he the whip? I think he's the Progressive Caucus whip. Greg Casar from Texas. He's absolutely amazing. Love him.
Republicans just seem to be going nuts, and so we'll see what it is that they decide to do to the country. But my main question is just if Elon Musk is kind of cosplaying co-president here, I don't know why Trump doesn't just hand him the Oval Office, or Speaker Johnson should maybe just hand Elon Musk the gavel if they just want that billionaire to run the country.
They were on fire yesterday. I loved this. Yesterday was I was never been more proud. And I don't say that a lot because it's like sometimes it's hard to be proud of the Democrats because they're not, getting out in front of things and communicating. I've never seen so much communicating from the Democratic Party. That was the most I've ever seen all of them. I saw people I didn't even know who they were communicating. And so this is how it starts. When Trump finally starts weighing in, right? And this is the irony of what Trump's doing. He's attacking the actual fiscal conservatives, right? This whole lie that they're telling, right? Which really is just an oligarchy. Trump's gathered, 15 billionaires and then people with hundreds of millions of dollars, right? Appointed them to positions they're not qualified for. And then they're all planning on divvying up a piece of the pie and profiting somehow. And the few Republicans who are actual fiscal conservatives, and listen, there's no love lost between me and Chip Roy. Like, he's gross on a number of things, very gross. But I will say he is an actual fiscal conservative and votes that way consistently. And Trump was trying to dismantle him yesterday throughout the day. And I'll say Chip held, again, I do not like him. He does not value, women's bodily autonomy or anything like that. But you could tell, like, they were ambushing him in the hallways of Capitol Hill. They're being like, oh, and, and sticking a microphone in his face and being like, this is what Trump's saying about you now. You could tell he was like, what is happening? But
he's one, to your point, I think he's one of the few members of the Freedom Caucus, although he's not even in it officially anymore because they don't like him. He's one of the few Republicans that will call out their party. He's done it more than once. Remember, he's the same guy that says, give me something to run on.
Just so you know, like, Trump's bitter at him as well. Like this, he full on backed DeSantis. He was doing interviews up until the last moment, trying to get DeSantis to be the candidate. Like, he does not like Donald Trump. He pretends to, but he does not like him. So Chip Roy is just another ambitious guy with no talent. By the way, how's Bob Good doing? If you're like, who the F is Bob Good? Bob Good used to be the Freedom Caucus chair. He was a representative from Virginia who was primaried because Trump hated him, right? And he tried, it went down to like a runoff, like they were counting votes by hand and Bob Good lost. He just gave his farewell speech last week. I was playing you guys parts of it. So what he's doing is he's reminding Chip Roy, I've had some of your friends thrown out of Congress. I will have you thrown out of Congress if you don't shut up. I hope hope some talented challengers are getting ready in the great state of Texas to go after Chip in the primary. He won't have a chance. Chip is very entrenched in his district. I actually believe Trump will have a very hard time primarying Chip Roy in Texas.
Chip was also the same guy who, remember, it was sometime this summer, he's like, can I have something? Give me something I can go back and campaign on. Give me one piece of legislation that I can go back to my voters and say, we accomplished this.
Well, yeah, I love that clip. He gave a similar speech yesterday. He was one of my favorite, and we'll get to Chip. Chip Roy held his ground yesterday, and he was being harassed by Republicans, by rhinos, by other Republicans. He was being harassed by everyone, and he pretty much held his ground. I mean, even though, like I said, no love lost. I don't like him. But I just wanted to point out what Ron Filipkowski said. The mob boss wants the debt ceiling raised. So he's letting all the Republicans know that you don't want to be against doing that, like these two guys. I mean, that's it's the basic mob boss from Queens. Hey, don't make me make an example out of you type situation.
Right. Say hello to my little friend.
Exactly. Now, look, so Trump posted that, and then Chip Roy goes on X and posts this. My position is simple. I'm not going to raise or suspend the debt ceiling, racking up more debt without significant and real spending cuts attached to it. I've been negotiating to that end. No apologies. And tag Boom. Speaker Johnson, the Golden Boy, the House majority or Senate Majority Leader John Thune, the Freedom Caucus, and Trump.
Boom.
I know he's going hard. And then, I mean, you could say if you think this is a good thing or not. Like Chip Roy's probably like, stay out of this, Mike Pence. But Mike Pence is a real fiscal conservative too. Guys, keep tapping the screen. Tapping is clapping. If you like what we're doing, please tap, please gift. This is my Cash App, and Faxes is down there. His Venmo and Cash App is right next to him. If you have a question, comment, concern, and would like to tip us, we will read it aloud. Also, please subscribe if you like what I do. I do the People's Receipts 4 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 11:30 a.m. Pacific, 2:30 p.m. Eastern. Okay, so, and then Mike Pence weighs in, because Mike Pence still, I guess, doesn't get that he's probably doing more harm than good at this point.
Do you think Mother typed this for him?
Oh, probably. Yeah, for sure. Congressman Chip Roy is one of the most principled conservatives in Washington, D.C., and people across this country are grateful for his stand against runaway federal spending. We just can't keep piling trillions in debt on our children and grandchildren. Thank you, Representative Chip Roy. Now, remember, if you don't, and just to give a brief thing, the debt ceiling does not have to be raised until June 2025. But because Trump wants to give these huge, tax breaks to corporations and billionaires, and he doesn't want to deal with the debt ceiling, he's demanding that it be done now. He basically is saying, tack on $5 trillion in spending. Thank you so much for subscribing, Cameron. W. Cameron. It is much appreciated. Yeah, so imagine that. They allegedly created the Department of Government Efficiency. Thank you, Mimi. Thanks for subscribing. They're supposed to be fiscal conservatives, fiscally responsible. And Trump's like, hey, can you guys just tack on $5 trillion to this bill so I can have a blank check? That was in the beginning. By this morning, he's saying, hey, I just want to have no debt limit through 2029. Just push it out until 2029. I need a blank check to spend as much as I want.
And this is why when we have debates and we call out opposition and we remind them about spending, and they say, even though the information is right in front of them, again, the demoralization campaign about doesn't matter what the data is, doesn't matter if they're looking at the blue sky, they'll say it's orange. Here's another example of irresponsible spending. Irresponsible. There's no fiscal conservatism in Washington. No party can claim that. But the freewheeling spending from the right, and then you add that to tax cuts, and this is what we get. And you're absolutely right. It's just a mask. This was their plan all along. We know that they were going to pressure during the lame duck. They were going to pressure the House to try to do this, and this is where we're at.
For sure, this was their I mean, it's absolutely obvious. And I saw you guys, people in the comments are saying, yeah, because they want to blame Biden. Yeah, and I just encourage you to know, they can say that all they want. But the thing is Trump's spending will always be attributed to Trump, right? What we know is that Biden has lowered the deficit. Right?
Exactly.
Trump blew the deficit out. He contributed like the third largest to the deficit in one of the shortest amounts of times. This man spent $8 trillion, like about 20 to 25% of our total national debt was under Donald Trump. Like this, he spends egregiously. So you can try and say, oh, it's Biden, right? And Trump being like, if a shutdown happens, it's not on my watch, it's on Biden's. Here's how the government works, Donald Trump. The Republicans are in charge of the House. You have to move that bill. You have to move that continued resolution out of the House. Yeah. Mike Johnson has to do that. Like, do you understand how the government works? Blame whoever you want, but it's going to be your spending. And you're getting blamed for it now. So then, and this is great because you love when they march out Senator Flip-Flop, but they're like, bring in Lindsey Graham to try to explain because, and this is always Lindsey. They get like Tom Tillis and Lindsey Graham to try to be like, hey, even if you guys kill that bill and then you just do a clean CR, the Democrats are still in control of the Senate and we still need 60 votes in the Senate. They're trying to like lovingly be like, hey, has to be bipartisan. Like, you guys aren't being realistic.
Saying it's not separate. He's saying for him, that's a must do. President Trump. Yes.
Well, yeah, the bottom line is that's a negotiating posture that you go into a room and you have to convince 2 out of 4 people in that room who are Democrats who may have a different view.
Well, you got to get 60 votes in the Senate, right? I voted to raise the debt limit. I voted against raising the debt limit. I don't want to default. There are some Republicans who've never voted to raise the debt limit and never will. So that's just a reality. So you have to get Democrats where you lose Republicans. Are they 60 votes in the United States Senate to raise the debt limit as part of this package? I will do that. So you need 59 more.
All right. So 58. Yes.
And that's the bill, right, that they have in front of them. Lindsey's ridiculous. Oh, it's not done. I think listen to Lindsey try his best.
So the Speaker and the Four Corners and everybody else is going to have to get some Democrats to vote for the bill. When it gets over here, you need 60 of us. So the idea that you can write a bill that doesn't have to get some bipartisan support ignores the situation on the ground. We have to have Democrats and Republicans at the 60 level to get anything through the Senate. So the Speaker.
And do you think Donald Trump cares or understands this? Like that they're trying to just say, hey, you have to be realistic.
And that's about as far as Lindsey Graham will go, to rail on his own party. That's about as far as he'll go right there.
No, that's him being like, hey, that's him screaming into the void.
Exactly. That's exactly right. You know what I mean? That's as far as he'll go. Well, 60, 59, I'll be 58. I'm not sure.
W. Rainey, thank you so much for subscribing. I appreciate it so much. I mean, yeah, this is Lindsey Graham desperately trying to explain, like, you guys need to stop this. And think about it. We have 2 unelected bureaucrats who have no experience whatsoever in government, right? Driving this train when the Democrats are, in fact, in charge of the Senate, and they need 60 votes. I mean, they're not wrong.
And think about, again, Felice, think about one of the big pushes from, the right support of Trump was they wanted bureaucrats out of D.C. They literally said, we don't want unelected officials running our government as long as it's Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. We're totally fine with that, though. The ultimate hypocrisy, the ultimate bureaucracy in play here when unelected officials are pressuring members of Congress to tear up bills and kick people off their Social Security, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's crazy.
Exactly.
This is a bizarro world.
Oh, for sure.
I'm convinced Mike Johnson cannot get every Republican to vote for a package, and he's going to have to some way find Democrats. Here's what I would think that almost all of us agree on. Disaster relief is needed. It's needed now, and that is a unifying point. I am convinced Mike Johnson can.
Exactly. Well, I mean, he's right. And it does look like, because most of these, the crazy thing is these Republicans, you know, like I showed you guys yesterday, Anna Paulina Lunatic is like, I'm not voting for this bill. Well, it's your constituents in Florida that need that disaster relief. It's always the Republicans who vote against disaster relief. But this time, the disaster relief fund is empty, and people in rural Republican areas need that money to revitalize their small businesses, to repair their homes, you know, so there's really no excuses.
Tom Tillis on the right in that picture, Republican senator from North Carolina. There you go. He gets it. They understand.
That's why they're like, we need to go out here and try to reason with people, but no one listens to Lindsey Graham, and no one cares when Tom Tillis speaks. But yeah, that's what they're basically, these three are like, oh my God, like we're going to get buried for this. Like, let's go try to talk some sense into people.
And this is part of the strategic wrangling, right? If we go back to when the Democrats saved Mike Johnson, literally it saved him from getting kicked out. And that was like, you know, perhaps, you know, in hindsight, was it a mistake at the time? Who knows? But now it's, you know, the rooster always comes home to roost, as they say, right? Because Democrats are not going to bail his ass out this time. There's just no way that's going to happen.
They asked Hakeem Jeffries. That's what they asked him with the press conference. He's like, no.
Nope,
like,
exactly.
If he does anything for you, if he negotiated with you again, would you guys help save him? No.
No. Yep. Exactly.
Absolutely not. You already got your one get out of jail free card, Mike. But then again, with the Republicans, it is the devil you know, because you know who's going to make a run at it.
Oh yeah,
Jim Jordan. It's already
they were
starting.
Talking about Matt Gaetz in the social circles. Matt Gaetz's name was mentioned. Remember, you do not need to be a member of the House to be Speaker of the House. Just keep that in mind, folks.
Oh yeah, and we'll get to that. Believe me.
Yeah.
Not get every Republican to vote for a package, and he's going to have to some way find Democrats. Here's what I would think that almost all of us agree on. Disaster relief is needed. It's needed now, and that is a unifying point. I am convinced Mike Johnson.
Well, it is, and it's not. Oh yeah, sorry. I just replayed the same clip. I'm sorry, guys. I was like, wait a minute.
Okay,
I just heard that. Okay, and now here comes
Squirm.
McCormick. God, he was on a roll yesterday, and by a roll I mean unbelievably annoying. Talking about cutting SNAP money all day long. From morning till night, this guy is yelling, trying to take food stamps away from the poor, right? Like this, it make sense. They are trying to raise the debt ceiling $5 trillion. The alleged fiscal conservatives, the party of fiscal responsibility, and he won't stop yelling that too many poor people need food. And who's on food stamps? When I looked it up last now, who were the 60% of people? Oh, yes, it's white people in, where is it? Oh, yes, the conservative South. I don't know why, like, it's, you're biting off your nose to spite your face, right? It's low income YT people that are on SNAP in your districts.
Budget the money, you run out of it pretty quickly in the areas that you need to have it. 81% or approximately such goes to SNAP out of the agriculture budget. So all those things that we're spending money on, we need to be shifting towards where it's really needed and not just handing out to people who want to have a piece of the pie without actually putting something in.
Who want really to have food? You mean, and please know that these SNAP, the SNAP money, those are children, right? These are most of they're minors who can't afford. How are they going to put into the, what are you talking
about? Take
about?
away SNAP and raise their taxes. Exactly.
Yeah, raise the children's taxes on SNAP. I don't think get the kids back in the mines. These grateful kids are trying to eat again.
Yeah, no Salisbury steak for you today, kids.
Exactly. Those TV dinners, they're not appreciating it. Get the children into the factories.
That's right.
Congressman, you speak of a broader vision for government spending, a long-term strategy. President Trump told NBC News that he would back abolishing the debt ceiling altogether. You voted against suspending it. It's supposed to be this tool that helps the government keep its word when it comes to a budget. But as you know, it's been suspended over and over and over again. Would you support abolishing it?
Not a chance. Let me tell you why. It's kind of a marker in time. How fast are we closing in on that extension? Hey, if you want to extend it by $4.5 trillion and get it up to about $40 trillion in debt, when you pay $1 trillion in interest payments per year, I think that's a great one, because then you can see how fast you basically spent in deficit the amount we bring in revenue every single year. Think about that.
What in the F is it? Like,
we're talking $1 trillion like it's nothing.
MAGA, be offended. Be offended how dumb these people think you are. You should be personally, deeply offended by how dumb they think you are. And if you're not, I'm worried for you.
Yeah,
the insults to your intelligence are constant.
We talking, $1 trillion. We're talking like $1 trillion, like it's like $50, like they found in their couch cushions or under your seat in your car. I mean, it's just the most hypocritical approach to governing I have ever seen.
Literally just said, "Hey, it's cool. We can't abolish the debt ceiling, but like it'd be fine if we give Trump $5 trillion, because then we could just experiment with how fast we spend it." That's what he just said. That's the best this man could come up with for Trump giving, needing $5 trillion to enrich corporations and his billionaire friends.
Yeah, let's just test it to see if we can, how many poor people we can make suffer some more, and how many elderly people we can kick off Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. Yeah, let's just test it.
It's like, because if we go through the $5 trillion in like 2 years, then we know. And it's like, we know what? That you guys spent $5 trillion, like, you're going to.
Yeah, exactly.
But hey, fiscal responsibility.
$4.5 trillion is what we bring in revenue. How fast are we going to consume that if we extend that debt? And then the public can actually see, oh my gosh, we just burned through that in 2 years, the entire deficit. So in other words, in 1 year, you bring in 4.5. In 2 years, you spent that in excess.
Yeah.
They don't even pretend anymore. I can't.
They don't.
What?
Just stand there.
This is why Chip Roy is so angry. Do you know what I mean? Yep. He's like, what is happening?
And Lindsey Graham used to be a budget hawk, and he's changed too. So that's why it's interesting to watch him pivot.
Once John McCain, he was John McCain's lapdog. And I mean that in the best way. The best of Lindsey Graham was when he was following John McCain around. You know what I mean? That was the best Lindsey Graham was as a human. And when John McCain unalive, we rest in peace here in Arizona. We don't speak ill of John McCain. But when he went away, Lindsey was lost and he found Trump, and the rest is history. But okay, so then Trump goes on another rant, right? Declares success in Washington. Speaker Mike Johnson and the House have come to a very good deal for the American people. The newly agreed to American Relief Act of 2024 will keep the government open, fund our great farmers and others, and provide relief for those severely impacted by the devastating hurricanes. A very important piece, vital to America First agenda, was added as well. The date of the very unnecessary debt ceiling. This man, the last time when the Democrats had to raise the debt ceiling, was saying, we can't ever raise the debt ceiling. It's irresponsible. Now that he's going to have 4 years to steal from American citizens, to steal all our tax dollars, he's calling the debt ceiling unnecessary. He's like, you guys are going to be paying $4.5 trillion a year in tax dollars. Just let me have a blank check. I don't need, you don't need to monitor it. I'll do something good with it.
I'm looking out for you.
Don't worry about it, guys.
Don't worry about it. It's all good.
And this is Ron Filipkowski. The New Deal still has almost everything in it Musk was yelling about in the morning, which is true. But it is even worse with the raised debt ceiling. From a Doe's perspective, this is worse. Now we find out if Musk really means what he says, because now he's on the opposite side of Trump on the substance, right? Which is a good point. And let me see it. I actually made a little, hold on really quick. I was about to just take credit for some other reporter. I saved it though. A reporter made this thing in bullet points. Let me pull it up really quick. So right now we're at the point where we're talking yesterday, the new negotiated bill, right? That Elon Musk killed the one that the Democrats had agreed on with Mike Johnson, and they come up with this new bill, and what they were doing is they're like, see, look how it's like 126 pages. The other one was 1,500, and they're acting like, whoopsies. They're acting like that's proof it's better, when in reality, it's like trillions of dollars more in spending. It's actually worse. But I wanted to highlight the things that were taken out of the bill, like the things they're saying. They call it Democratic pork, like the unnecessary things. These things really actually were either going to save us money, or have nothing to, or are like cancer research for children. So I just wanted to, I didn't do this. A reporter did it, but actually, let me start at the beginning here. I just wanted to highlight these really quick, just so we're clear of like what was taken out of the bill. So first, a fix for stolen food stamp funds. So one provision taken out of the initial bill was aimed at ensuring that states replenish food stamp funds for Americans who rely on the program whose benefits are stolen. So it's if your food stamps are stolen, right? There's a lot of fraud. And if they are, having recourse to have them replenished. So you still get to eat that month. That's this.
I don't know, Felice. That's a lot to ask.
Literally, this is where we're at, right? Like they don't want poor people to eat.
I mean, those billionaires need to buy up more land in North America. We can't let people eat.
Exactly. I mean, truly, absolutely. We have to go to Mars, Steve. We have to go to Mars. Right. We have to. Elon Musk needs trillions of dollars to play with his little toys.
Or a space elevator. Yep. That's it.
I actually like. Yeah. Okay, I do like that. I know a lot about the space elevator. That's not his idea, though. That has been in the works for a long time. Hey, Joanna.
Hi, Joanna.
Hey, I mean, duh. We have to be the Jetsons. Who gives a damn if poor people don't have food?
It's just food. Who cares, right? Psh,
right. It's not like you need that to live, right? We got to get to Mars. Republicans wouldn't be Republicans if it wasn't for the hypocrisy, right? Like they're saying, let's cut food stamps like here in my state under Sarah's stupid ass, who is now saying, we need to make sure the food stamps can't be spent on junk food for these poor people. Meanwhile, you can't even buy hot food with the benefits in Arkansas. It's asinine. I did want to hop up here for this quick commercial break, though. Make sure that you guys keep tapping. I'm super proud of your tapping fingers because y'all are yapping and tapping, and that's always two of our favorite pastimes during the People's Receipts, right? If you haven't sent your heart me, get that done. If you haven't followed Felice and Fax, make sure you're doing that as well. Keep gifting. I'm surprised that Steve isn't at 1,000 by now. So let's, get him up there to show
Let's gift Steve, please. Good call, Joanna.
Thank y'all.
1,000,000,000%. Keep gifting Steve. Keep gifting Felice. There were a few people in the comments saying that Felice's Venmo wasn't working. It is. So I don't know if you maybe need to try it again, but make sure that you're also sending them a couple coins if you want to have them read something aloud, or if you just want to show your appreciation. Early Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Kwanzaa. Turn that up. Faxes, Venmo, and Cash App are at the bottom of the screen. Felice's are at the top. If you want a link to the Discord, send a message to Felice Navidad Live on TikTok, or you can message one of the mods and we'll try to get that handle for you as well. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, At a Girl Has No Name, make sure you're doing that too, because you can catch all the replays, get extra information, or you can do like me and elevate and have an extra kiki in the middle of the night when you can't sleep, because we're about to go into this hell. Raise the roof. Felice, reset your live goal. Thank you guys so much for all your support.
I'm getting better at it.
Thank you, Joanna. Appreciate you.
You're the best, Joanna.
Thank you so much.
You are literally the best. I could not do any of this without you or any of the other amazing mods that work with us. Thank you guys so much. It is much appreciated. I wanted to talk about this one, by the way, the pharmacy benefit overhaul. This is something that would have lowered the deficit. So again, the two most egregious things I'm talking about that are clearly for the billionaires, the 15 billionaires Trump has appointed to positions in his cabinet that have the wealth of 169 countries. This would have benefited the American people and lowered the deficit. Right? Pharmacy benefit overhaul. What is that? There is a predatory practice of it. It's like pharmacy benefit managers. They're another go-between. Insurance is already a go-between pharmaceutical companies and the American people. There is another go-between between insurance and pharmaceutical companies. They're called pharmacy benefit managers, and they do something called spread pricing. And they're basically just getting, they're just go-betweens who are overcharging insurance companies more than the pharmaceutical company is charging them, and they're taking a profit. And they were going to eliminate that from happening. Right. Or in certain instances, this was going to help us. And guess what got taken out of the bill because of billionaires that have interest in big pharma.
Once again,
and insurance.
We don't need to eat, and we don't need our life-saving drugs. We're good.
Exactly.
We're totally fine.
No, we need to be gouged for them. Let's spend our tax when we could be paying way less. Let's make sure we pay exorbitant amounts for these. So just know this is one of the more egregious things they did that I haven't heard that many people talking about. This would have saved us money.
Yeah, but I mean, the solution is raw milk, Felice. Let's be real. That's the solution. Raw milk.
Exactly. Everything's going to be fine. Well, it's once we get the fluoride out of the water, because that's why I heard I'm gay. Right. You know what I mean?
That's right. I forgot.
I didn't drink too much tap water. That's why I like boys and girls. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it almost turned me gay, but not quite. Thank God I stopped drinking tap water.
That was a close one.
God only knows what would have happened to me. Sorry, if you don't know, that's one of RFK's theories, is that the fluoride in the drinking water has turned the children gay.
Yep.
I wish that was a joke. That's the home health secretary. What could go wrong? Or human health secretary.
That's your boy. That's your boy.
Everything's going to be great, you guys. He's on the case. And we got
whales on the roof and fluoride in the water. We're all set. We're totally good.
Everything's going to be totally fine. He was having a really hard time in college until he found H, and then everything got easier.
Totally.
See, this is another one you're going to hear people lie about. Like, I was misinformed on this until I did more research because of all the lies being told by Republicans. Like, Republicans are on X saying that, there was $3 billion in this bill for a Commander's stadium. There is absolutely...
You just said Republicans are on X. That might make things a lot better if Republicans were actually on X.
Maybe it probably would help. It would probably work in our favor. But so this RFK stadium transfer, this has nothing to do with money. Our tax dollars are not paying for a stadium to be built. It is simply a transfer of land so that DC, the District of Columbia, can then negotiate with the NFL. It is not money. It simply is a transfer of land, right? It's paperwork. They cut this out. Oh, the pay raises for members of Congress. What are your thoughts on this?
Oh, totally. Absolutely. Just completely while American kids are starving and we're taking away lunches and we can't get health care, but make sure the members of Congress who can't get anything done, make sure they get compensated for their time.
Guys, keep tapping the screen. Tapping is clapping, and please gift facts.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I just want to say, I want to debunk a lie because, like I said, I have to hang out on X to keep an eye on these people and to build these outlines, and they're lying about it though. So if you read here, the real numbers are they're getting $174,000 now, and they were essentially going to get a 3.8% cost of living adjustment. They have not had a COLA adjustment since 2009. And I'm not making the case for them. I'm just saying facts. So it would be 6,600, right? So that would literally be like $180,600. Now, what Elon Musk and all the Republicans and Nancy Mace are saying is that it was going from 174,000 to 243,000. So that is not true. I just want to debunk the lies. It is actually just $6,600. But I do agree, and I'm not sure if you're in here, but someone said it in the live yesterday, and I thought it was such a great point because this audience is the smartest audience on TikTok. And someone said, yeah, you guys, and I think, and I've thought into this further. I was debating last night with Pickle. Someone said yesterday, like, hey, they can have their raises when we ban stock trading. And I was thinking, that's great. But then I was thinking further, I feel sorry for I was going to say the few people. It might be one person. I feel sorry for AOC, who does not trade stocks, has to lives in New York and DC, and is trying to maintain two households on truly one salary. I do feel sorry for her. And she holds, if you guys don't know, AOC has no holdings in the stock market whatsoever. So I was thinking maybe we should pass a bill that's like, you can have regular cost of living adjustments if you sign something and, vacate your positions in the stock market.
I love that.
I mean, it's not worth it to them, but no one's going to do it. But yeah, hey, if you guys are so interested in cost of living adjustments, then all you got to do is vacate all your positions in the stock market and you can have them. But yeah, someone said I support the increase. So I'll say this. And to play the argument as I see it, the devil's advocate, to this is, if we want good people to be but good, I don't like the word good. I don't like how I said that. If we want intelligent, competent people who, this is a representative democracy, can effectively represent us in Congress, we have to probably pay comparable to the private sector, because these people can go into the private sector. One of the scariest people in the Republican Party that's now gone, he was the author of the TikTok ban. His name was Mike Gallagher. He was very young. He was like 39, turning 40. He was one of the brightest stars, and I was so worried about how we were going to deal with this guy. And he just finally's like, I can make $1 million a year in the private sector, and I don't have to deal with I don't have to deal with idiots, because of the chaos. The Marjorie Taylor Greene's basically, he's like, I'm just going to go to the private sector and make $1 million a year. I'm not sitting here with Marjorie Taylor Greene.
That's a fair point. I mean, that's a fair point. I don't want to dangle the carrot for, compensation to become a governing official who's got integrity and character, but that's a fair point. That is a fair point. The problem is, as you know, when you get a taste of money, it's difficult to go back. So I've always thought about lobbyists.
Kirsten Sinema was one of my senators for the last
there you go.
years.
Yeah,
she went to Congress with $100,000, and I think she has millions and millions. So I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, it's the issue is lobbyists. I think I don't think you can serve in Congress if you've been a lobbyist, and I don't think you should be able to become a lobbyist after serving in Congress. Things like that.
I totally agree with that. Keep them from moving to K. I know we'll hear Kirsten Sinema setting up on K Street soon. Oh, for sure. I guarantee you she's going to be a lobbyist. W. Susan, thank you so much for the tip. I appreciate it. And I did receive it. Okay, so moving through this. Yeah. And this just debunked. They did debunk the lies of Musk. He said they got a 40% pay raise. Musk is just posting lies. He said they got a 40% pay raise. That was all lies. Targeting junk fees, right? Why wouldn't we do this? Oh, because billionaires, because Trump is supporting billionaires and corporations who want to charge Americans junk fees. All we were going to do, right? There's in this was basically crack down on so-called junk fees, require ticket sellers to say all the fees up front rather than tack them on at the end. Nope, Trump can't. Trump and his billionaire cronies, they don't like that. They need to nickel and dime us. What would be the reason we can't do this?
They're looking out for us. Come on, let's give them a break.
They care about
the billionaires some slack.
Do you want to talk about this? This is the child. Yeah, I know you know way more about this than me.
Yeah, so one of the things, I'll get the specific program. One of the areas that they wanted to cut was roughly $194 million from what the Gabriella Miller Kids First Pediatric Research Program. It was established in 2014 in honor of Miller, a 10-year-old girl who died from cancer in 2013. A 10-year fund in her honor was created in 2014, according to a statement by Representative Jennifer Wexton. Lawmakers celebrated the bipartisan bill to reauthorize funding. Of course, that's one area that they wanted to pull out. This is personal for me. For those of you who know, I've been very transparent on this. My daughter's a 2-time cancer survivor. At 5 years old, she contracted what's referred to as Wilms tumor, which is childhood cancer of the kidney. Typically speaking, it hits kids when they're about 18 to 24 months old. So research money needed to go into my daughter's course of treatment because they didn't have protocols for someone who was 5 years old. And the worst part about, people don't know this, but it's around 5% of all federal money goes to research for childhood cancer. So it's already a massively underfunded program. So when you're talking about taking hundreds of millions of dollars away from research to discover the next form, it's not just about cancer itself, it's about the treatment protocols. That's one of the biggest misnomers when we're talking about research funding, especially for kids. It's oftentimes, how much poison can we put in their bodies and still them have a functioning life, for example? The new physics around radiation therapy. So this one hits for me. This is big. Again, how real time, how life really matters. Again, around 5% of all federal funding goes towards research for childhood cancer specifically. Nothing against the Susan G. Komen Foundation. I've donated to it. I volunteered for it. Breast cancer gets the overwhelming majority of research funding, and it should. But I'd like to think we as a nation can decide that we'd like to spend a little bit more money on researching childhood cancer. So there you go.
And I did more research into this, or actually I'll just wait till later because I think it's in the outline. There's a clip. I think this particular fund, the Gabriella Miller Kids First Research Act, this is named for a 10-year-old girl with an inoperable brain tumor, and it was started by the Republicans. I think Eric Cantor, if I remember correctly.
My daughter's doing great, you guys. She's 17, she's thriving, although she just got dumped.
So that's $170 million they're taking away from children's cancer research specifically.
Yeah.
And Steph, to answer your question, when you hear that alarm thing that goes off, it's basically, I'm in TikTok Studio and it's to make sure I'm not a bot. It's like one of those puzzle piece things you have to move across the screen and match. And if you don't do it, your live time's out. It's like a security measure, that's why you hear it. So yeah, I know. It's weird. And then, if you don't know about this, they've been having congressional hearings about this horrid stuff. They've been having parents and children who were the victims of horrific, deep fake images where they're taking kids bodies or faces and putting them, making these deep fakes and exploiting children on the internet. And they basically wanted to do something about that. And Republicans are like, no, let's not help kids who are being exploited on the internet.
So let's let them starve. Let's just jack up the price of pharmaceuticals and let's not worry about exploitation of children. But yeah, we're all about the kids.
I can't even believe this one. What is the reason we can't do this? And this is the most egregious of all. You want to know? Billionaires were absolutely not. There were going to be restrictions on investment in China, right? So, where Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos love to invest and do all their business. Now, remember, this is Donald Trump and Elon Musk who said, we're bringing jobs back to America. This would have helped with that. Stopping corporations from building factories and using slave labor in China and manufacturing there. If Republicans were serious about the lies they told during the election, this would have been in that bill, and they took it out.
Nothing to see here, please.
Yeah, it's fine.
Don't worry about it. The billionaires have us.
It'll be fine, you guys. Just because they're going against every single thing they promise, that doesn't mean we should be alarmed. As Mike Johnson literally said yesterday, hey, just because we're adding $5 trillion to the debt doesn't mean we're not serious about fiscal responsibility. It's like we're in a nightmare.
Yeah, we're totally good.
Yeah, I mean, why would anyone doubt you, Mike Johnson? You're leading us to the promised land.
What do you
Sorry.
say? We're laughing so we don't cry.
Oh, I say that every day when people are like, "Why are you laughing?" I'm like, "Oh, it's this or I cry." So we just have to laugh. Like we have to. My dark sense of humor comes from being boarded to a lot of trauma, And when you experience a lot of trauma, you truly do laugh so you don't cry. Like that's how it goes. Oh, and I love that. Here we go. Sorry, I'm just going back to the outline. So those are the main things that there's no reason to take out of the bill that they took out. And Rod Filipkowski's like, when he saw that they took out the restrictions on outbound China investment, Rod Filipkowski's like, MAGA's a bunch of suckers. You thought this was all about wasteful spending. There's plenty of new spending in the bill, but this is what Trump, Musk, and their oligarch friends wanted taken out. You people are sheep. And he's exactly
I don't see any
right.
references to the pay to play scheme, $1 billion to invest in America. I don't see that in there. That's interesting. I'll bet that's probably going to justify they're going to just going to grape people for investing $1 billion and then ignore all regulations.
Elon Musk's sweetheart China deal. In the new House GOP spending bill, they removed rules that would limit American investments in China. This will greatly benefit Musk, Tesla, and many other giant corporations who are benefiting from our tax dollars. Understand that. We are subsidizing his companies with our tax dollars, and he's investing them in China. Do you see? Are we building a picture of the conflicts of interest?
He won't be looking out for just himself in his new position within the government. Of course not. He's going to be fair.
Of course. Why wouldn't he be? I do love how quickly everyone jumped on this. Restrictions on U.S. investment in China have been knocked out of this version. And all of a sudden, the man who owns a bunch of car factories in China likes the bill. What is the weirdest thing? It's so spending more. Elon Musk's purpose was to spend less, and the bill tacked on $5 trillion and made it so he can take our tax dollar subsidies we give his companies and go spend them in China. And he's like, another good day at the office.
Billionaires looking out for us.
Oh, yeah. These are the two I said. This is the one I was talking about. Reforms to pharmacy benefit managers to lower drug prices. They're like, nope. Let's not lower drug prices. Let's let United Health make profits. That's exactly what happened there.
Yeah. And remember, it's a line item within health insurance companies to deny claims. Just keep that in mind.
Oh, well, I guess we talked about the child's cancer. That was just about the child's cancer research. These were just bills. Yeah. And this is the same thing. Yeah. And the $5 trillion over the next 2 years, just that's what they left in. I love this though. This is a great point by Ron Filipkowski. He was tweeting at Steve Bannon. Because if you know, right, there's the billionaires in Trump's government, and then there's like the far right MAGAs, right, who are basically like libertarians, like Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon, if you ever have watched his show, like I have hundreds of times, all he's doing is saying, we got to stop investing in China. Like China's out to get us. The CCP is evil. And it's like, that's why he's like, hey, Steve Bannon, what are your thoughts about this? Musk negotiated a sweet deal, didn't he? Like, make it make sense.
They literally are stuck the proverbial rock in a hard place, right? That's kind of where they're at. I mean, they're infighting from within. Their support outside the circle is crumbling. They've got Musk making deals for himself. We've got a little bit of infighting between Musk and Trump now. Who's the bigger bully? I mean, the Musk administration, like we talked about from Monday.
The Musk administration's going strong. And this is remember I told you they were like following Chip Roy again. So Trump is attacking Chip Roy online because Chip Roy's like, this is BS. I will not vote to raise the debt ceiling. Like, it's a non-starter. So Trump's attacking him, and they're like following him around and telling him things that Trump is saying online about him.
For cheap publicity. Trump is saying you're getting in the way of a Republican victory for cheap publicity. What's your reaction to that?
I haven't been able to read. All we're doing is trying to talk about how to get a deal done so we can actually cut spending.
Do you plan to talk to him to smooth things over?
I don't even know what we're talking about. I got to look at whatever was put out there. But
He
I
said
know
weak and ineffective people like Chip have been dismissed as utterly unknowledgeable as to the ways of politics and as to making America great again. Put America first and go for victory.
We're working right now on how to actually cut spending, which is what the voters sent me to Washington to do. So that's what we're working on.
There you go. Mic drop, door close.
I know that guy, Chip's assistant, looks like Jonah Ryan from Veep. By the way, did you? It looks.
You're right. Wow,
it does. It kind of looks like Jonah Ryan from Veep. Guys, tapping is clapping. Please, please, please gift our guest facts. We love having him here on Fridays, and we want him to feel welcome as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate
So, and then okay. And I said Hakeem Jeffries was the hero of the day. Hakeem Jeffries gave one of his best speeches, like just shitting on this bill. It was one of his best speeches ever. I loved it. And I have like 5 of the best parts.
On behalf of the American people, it was a Republican drafted bill that was posted by House Republicans. And then one or two puppet masters weigh in, and the extreme MAGA Republicans decide to do the bidding of the wealthy, the well-off, the well-connected, millionaires and
Wealthy, the well-off, the well-connected. Do you hear the consonants? I love how he always uses alliteration.
billionaires, not working-class people all across America. The bill that is before us today is just part of an effort to shut down the government. Unless we, as representatives of the American people,
Someone asked, that's a great question. Sorry, sometimes I don't see who asked. Cassidy asked if this bill is bipartisan. So the first one was the one that they completely went back on, and because Elon Musk started tweeting at 4 a.m. yesterday, kill the bill. That was bipartisan. Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, Mike Johnson, and Joe Biden negotiated that deal. Then, like I said, Elon Musk started being like, kill the bill, kill the bill. No, this bill that they voted on yesterday, like around 5 p.m. They did not consult, and you'll hear as this goes on, like all Democrats are going to start saying that, because what they're doing now, before you vote on a bill, they have House floor debates, right? So if you want to say your piece, you can go to the House floor and have 5 minutes, or there's a total amount of time and they allocate it to people. So yeah, no, Democrats were not consulted at all. That's why the Democrats are like, over our dead bodies will we help you? Like, you could crash and burn all on your own. You didn't even ask us.
of the wealthy, the well-off, the well-connected, millionaires and billionaires, not working-class people all across America. The bill that is before us today is just part of an effort to shut down the government. Unless we, as representatives of the American people, bend to the will of just a handful of millionaires and billionaires, because the provisions in this bill, particularly as it relates to suspending the debt ceiling for 2 years, are designed to bring about a massive tax cut, unpaid for wealthy donors and for wealthy corporations, for millionaires and billionaires who clearly some in this Congress are working for. And this bill is validation for it. Now, what's been interesting to me is that for decades, the Republican Party has lectured America about fiscal responsibility, about the debt and the deficit. It's always been phony. This bill proves it.
My God, preach. Like, get out of my head. It's always
Apparently Mike
been
Johnson
phony.
has just come out and told reporters this afternoon that there won't be a government shutdown, but did not detail any specifics of a plan.
Yeah, a couple hours ago it was, hey, maybe just a couple of days, guys. Like, whatever.
Yeah, and then Mitch McConnell says we need bipartisan deal making. There you go.
They
in his
have. They
farewell
need
speech.
Democratic votes. So either you put the stuff back in the bill that you promised in the first place, because they're not. I mean, the debt ceiling has to be out, or they can't even get all the Republicans to vote for it. But they probably, even if they take the debt ceiling out, they probably still can't get all of them. So then they'll need Democrats. Democrats are in lockstep. So to get it out of the House.
He did say apparently that he will pull the debt ceiling spending out.
Again, they've said that since this morning. And Trump, basically, Trump should not have taken that stand, right? Because what we're doing this morning, Trump said, if you will not make a deal unless the debt ceiling is raised. And they're all like, no. Like, they're just like, you don't understand how Congress works? No, that's not happening. Thank you so much, Ashley.
Missed opportunities, right, Felice? It's like all these missed opportunities that Trump has. I mean, literally, if you talk about unification, right now he doesn't give a shit about it, but all these missed opportunities. You know, you could talk about that, but
he could be a real hero if he wanted.
Exactly. There's no desire to lead at all.
He could actually be a real hero if he wanted. He could have real adoration. Like, Ashley has a joke, and she sent me a tip. Thank you so much, Ashley. It says, "What do you call a bear with no teeth?"
I don't know.
A gummy bear.
Oh gosh.
Thanks, Ashley. Merry Christmas. I do love a bad joke. That's a great joke. Let's go, Hakeem. Tell the people. He was on fire yesterday.
The one thing we do know is that every time a Republican president comes into office, the one thing we can count on Republicans to do is to pass a massive tax cut for wealthy Americans, and in the process, stick working class Americans with the bill by raising the deficit and the debt.
I love him. Tap the screen. Tapping is clapping.
And then Donald Trump comes to office and again follows the same exact playbook. After failing to take health care away from millions of Americans.
Because what he's saying, and is a great point, because we need to add that to our story. When I talk about how Donald Trump failed the economy, I usually start with his tax cuts and his tariff failures, but really the first failure that not to brag, shout out to us here in Arizona, that John McCain had to save us from was Trump listened to insurance lobbyists, and he was trying to remove the pre-existing conditions condition from the Affordable Care Act. He was trying to make it so none of us are insurable on the Affordable Care Act exchange. That was the first horrible thing he did. And then never he says in debates, I saved the Affordable Care Act. No, you tried to ruin it. John McCain saved it. That's why you hated him and said all that horrible stuff about him.
The Republicans turned their attention to the GOP tax scam, where 83% of the benefits went to the wealthiest 1%. Why? To subsidize the lifestyles of the rich and shameless. And in the process of doing that, borrowed $2.3 trillion added to our debt.
It's music to my ears.
Sorry if I keep
in our nation's 248-year history, 25% of our nation's debt was accumulated during the 4 years of the former president. 25%. How dare you lecture America about fiscal responsibility? Ever. And then President Biden comes to office, gets big things done for the American people on infrastructure, on the CHIPS and Science Act, standing up a clean energy economy, rescuing America from a once-in-a-century pandemic, gets all of these big things done, partnering with House Democrats and Senate Democrats. And in the process, in his first 2 years, reduces the deficit by $1.7 trillion.
I was Pickles and I were debating last night, and this guy was like, you guys don't know what you're talking about. And then we had to go to look at literal spreadsheets of numbers. And what does it say? Biden lowered the deficit. Absolutely. Joe Biden lowered the deficit. Trump was the third largest contributor to the deficit, and Biden lowered the deficit.
And so we see a very clear pattern. The facts speak for themselves. Democrats are the party of getting things done and fiscal responsibility. Republicans are the party of massive tax cuts for the wealthy, the well-off, and the well-connected, which
Wealthy, the well-off, and the well-connected. Tell the people, Hakeem, he's amazing.
that has been cut out of this legislation. Why would you do that? Why would you eliminate funding for community health centers? That impacts the heartland of America, urban America, rural America, suburban America, small town America, Appalachia. Why would you cut out funding for community health centers? We're fighting for those everyday Americans. That's why we're opposed to this legislation. That has been
leadership right there.
I mean, yeah, lead by example too. You should have heard oh wait, actually I don't know if I got the applause, but he got like a standing ovation from the Democrats. And when he speaks, everyone listens, even though the Republicans aren't enjoying it. And then when other people started floor speeches, they were like booing Anna Paulina lunatic off the floor. You guys are going to enjoy this, I promise.
Why would you cut funding for nutritional assistance for children in America?
Forcing women to have babies. We're forcing women to have babies, but hey, let's not feed those babies. Do not feed those babies, but you need to have them.
Seniors in America, for veterans in America. Why would you do that? This bill cuts funding for nutritional assistance that had previously been agreed upon, and that's why we're opposed to this legislation.
Doing the work.
This legislation actually cuts a program that was designed to help children and their parents detect cancer. Cruelty is the point. Why would you eliminate that program? We're going to fight for the children of America.
I love Hakeem Jeffries. He's absolutely amazing.
So basically the pro-life movement can bite me.
Cruelty is the point, right? Like, cruelty is the point. These people do not see middle class and lower class America as human beings, right? The measure, if you want to be considered a human being, you need to have capital in capitalism.
But we've laid out the challenges with this bill, the phoniness in claiming that extreme MAGA Republicans are about working class Americans or the party of fiscal responsibility. Nothing could be further from the truth. When you run up the debt and the deficit, middle class families pay, working class families pay, and we are going to defend them. House Democrats are going to continue to fight for working families, middle class families, all those who aspire to be part of the middle class, for the children of America, for the seniors of America, for the unions in America, for the veterans of America, for the least, the lost, and the left behind, for the poor, the sick, and the afflicted. We are going to continue to fight for everyday Americans. That is why we are voting no on this bill, and to stop this reckless, regressive, and reactionary Republican shutdown, vote no.
These guys, caucus unified, they are ready to do battle. Do you have that slide?
You'll never hear me say this. Be proud of what the Democrats did yesterday.
Seriously, it's true. It's really true. It's consistent for change, really in your face, calling it out. I mean, giving more people more voices. I love it. Do you have that slide from ITEP, Institute for Taxation and Economic Policy, that shows the Trump tax cuts and how they would punish everybody that's making under $400,000?
No, but if you text it to me, I can put it up. I don't have it right now, it might be somewhere, but I don't have it on me right now. You know what I'm looking for right now? I met Hakeem Jeffries like 2 months ago, and I was going to show you guys I accosted him. I did not accost. I mean, some might say I accosted him. It just depends on how you look at it. But he said, "You're doing a great job to me." I'm just looking. Oh, there he is. He was on our live stream, actually. He was on the live stream. Some people in here know he was on the live stream for like 20 minutes. He did a really good job. I don't know where I have the clips. Oh, here's a screen. Here's a still shot. It was at a campaign event in Arizona. I worked for the Kamala Harris campaign in Arizona, and he spoke at an event. And some of you guys were there. Hold on, I'm going to pull it up. I just added it. Give me 1 second. But yeah, and I just was like, oh, pitch the live. And he basically, it was so loud in there, we kind of couldn't hear him, but he basically like talked to us for like 30 seconds and gave like an elevator pitch of why we should vote for Kamala Harris. And he was amazing.
Your sapiosexual brain, I'm sure, was fully engaged.
Oh my God. It was like one of the best moments. See, that's me like on the live, and that's him talking to the live. That was good times. And when he shakes hands, he gives like good handshakes and makes eye contact and says nice things to you. And you could tell like he actually means it. Yeah. Sorry. This is so weird. I'm not like one of these people, like I don't care about like Hollywood stars or athletes, but I do like people who are intelligent, who are working for the common good. And I think he's one of them. Like I'm with you. A very impressive human being. And hopefully maybe one day he'll be president. We don't know. We don't know. It could. He's seeming very. They call him the Obama of Brooklyn. If you don't know, he was a prosecutor in Brooklyn. He's from he's a representative from New York.
Party of fiscal.
Oh wait, hold on.
Someone in the chat said earlier, the Jeffries Crockett ticket 2028.
Oh, that would be so amazing, wouldn't it? Oh my God, that would be amazing if we could get people to vote for it. So think about this. So Hakeem Jeffries gives that amazing speech. People give him a standing ovation. And then here comes Representative Alford to just try to gaslight us all. Listen to the Republicans insult everyone's intelligence.
The gentleman is recognized for 2 minutes.
I'll add your thing right after that. I'll add your slide right now. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Mr. Speaker. I did not bring any fancy signs with me today. Those take hours to prepare, but I will tell you, if a shutdown occurs because we do not pass this continuing resolution today, it will not be a Republican shutdown. It will be a Democrat shutdown. And when it goes over to the Senate, it will be the Schumer shutdown.
We'll suspend.
The majority party.
The gentleman will suspend. The House will come.
Yeah, it's almost like if you guys just keep yelling that, maybe that'll be true or maybe not. Okay, so here's your slides. So which one is this the right one that you want me to?
Yeah, that's the. So basically, the Institute for Taxation and Economic Policy did a comparison of Trump's proposed tax cuts and what Kamala Harris's tax cuts would have been. So you see those in the yellow. Oh, that's us. That's 65% of Americans making less than $400,000 a year. We all get a tax boost. We get a tax cut. Yay! And then everybody else. I'm sorry. This is the Trump tax. That's the Trump's tax cut right there. All of those of us in the yellow would get a tax hike, and those in the black would be the billionaire class.
Say. I don't know if he's really doing this, but if you don't know this, our taxes are being raised by Trump.
Exactly. So that's the plan. So everybody under 400K's taxes go up. Everybody above, the 5%ers and then the 1%ers, the big black column there, y'all get a tax cut. And then I also sent you what Kamala Harris's taxation policy would look like. And it's the exact opposite. Just
before we go off this, and I don't know like if we've hammered this enough, but this is real life. If you make under 400,000, people who make people in poverty like myself, if you make less than 28,000 a year, your taxes are being raised. This is not a joke. People literally below the poverty line will be paying more in taxes. That's not, and think about it. These are, your federal taxes, right? This is not counting at the cash register because we have to make up for the revenue we're not taking in from billionaires and from corporations. So when you go to buy goods, right, there's going to be tariffs and you're going to be taxed again to make up for rich people and corporations not paying taxes. I just want to be clear on that. And then here's the second one. So, and this is Kamala Harris's tax proposal. We would have raised taxes on the rich, and
those same brackets exactly. It's literally just flipped. Everybody above the number that Kamala Harris proposed in her campaign during her economic policy was above 400,000. Everybody below 400K gets a tax.
We're in hell. Just laugh so you don't cry.
It's literally just the opposite. They're literally just the opposite of one another. And again, where your priorities are, right? But the billionaires need those tax breaks because trickle down economics works, right? Right, Felice? Totally works.
You guys, it's going to trickle down oh my God, I'm going to have to stop debating because if I have to explain to one more MAGA that trickle down, that we have the data and it's not trickling down, I
think I saw the tail end of your live last night with Pickles, and you're just like, listen, I've never seen police just exhausted before.
I know. Someone gave me $10 to bang my head against the wall. It was literally Joe Vaughn was so funny last night. He's amazing.
Yeah, but again, for those of you who don't know this, I think it's really important because again, these are based on projections, based on what they proposed, but you can just see the stark difference between the two. It's just night and day.
And if you didn't know, if the tax proposals go the way Trump said they were, our taxes are being raised.
Exactly. And then we're going to spend.
Joanna.
Hey, time for another quick commercial break. Although you guys are silly. You know, when we cut taxes for the rich, it trickles down to us, right? They're going to increase wages and invest in infrastructure, and everything's going to be better if we just keep giving the rich motherfuckers more money.
In 2 weeks, you guys.
In 2 weeks,
it's coming in 2 weeks.
States' rights, brother. Totally. 2 weeks.
Oh my God, I love the states' rights, brother, especially when Felice says it in her southern accent.
States' rights, brother.
She sounds just like one of my elementary school teachers, and I love that. It's so nostalgic. It's states' rights, brother. Like literally every time. It's so aggravating. But thank you guys for continuing to use those tapping fingers. They've slowed down a bit, so let's go ahead and get those back to going. Thank you guys so much for being here. We appreciate all the participation. If you haven't sent your heart me's, and if you aren't following Felice and Facts, absolutely do it. They do a phenomenal show on Mondays, 7 a.m. Central, 8 Eastern.
You're right.
Correct.
Facts and Felice. It's super delightful. We get to see Felice.
What's our subject, Facts, on Monday?
The Musk administration.
Oh yeah, our show will be on. We'll be doing a very riveting presentation on the Musk administration. Well, President Musk has not really got the coverage that he truly deserves. So Fax and I will be talking about President Musk and his chief of staff, Donald Trump.
Correct. Yes, his little chief of staff. Yes.
Yeah, like Trump is chief of staff at this point. Vance is like Secretary of Interior Design.
He's the whipping boy.
Right.
Yeah, he
goes and gets the burgers at lunchtime.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
he picks up the takeout. That's what he does.
That's right.
And it's super healthy, especially with RFK in charge of Health and Human Services. Anyway, if you want to see that clip where Felice got to meet Hakeem and she took us all with her, make sure that you subscribe to the channel on YouTube because all that good stuff is on there as well. We also have awesome clips of different things in the Discord, so if you want a link to that, and so that you can get the outline, so that you can get all the information, all these clips that you've seen on the show today and all the shows, make sure that you send a message to Felice Navidad Live on TikTok, or to one of the mods that you see here. We'll make sure that you get to that. You want to send something cute and funny to Felice or to Fax. His links are in the bottom of your screen for Cash App and Venmo, and Felice's are at the top, as you see. Also, if you see the little blue and white notebook at the upper left side of your screen, that's a poll. Take that, if you please. It helps push us out. It helps get more people in here. It helps show engagement into the live. Let's get these likes up to
Now let's get to 300K, guys. We could do it. Tapping is clapping. If we can get to 400K before the live ends, I would highly appreciate it. I know it's not always as exciting as debates, but it does take me hours and hours to put these slideshows together and make these presentations. So I do appreciate the engagement more than you know.
And Joanna, based on your comments earlier in the chat, I have a feeling there may be a poster of Hakeem Jeffries on your wall. I mean, I might be wrong about that, but I have a feeling, I'm just saying.
Listen, between him and Wes Moore, like if you put me in the room with them, I am folding like a 99-cent store paper towel.
Wes Moore is so good looking. If you don't know the governor of Maryland, look him up.
Love them both to pieces. I was going to go to, because I'm an elected official in Arkansas, I had planned to go to DC and I had hoped to meet them in January. I'm obviously not going now, although I did get 10 tickets to the inauguration just so I could not go. But yeah, love them both. Also love both of you too. Everybody, thank you for your participation. Keep tapping, keep sharing. Let's get up to 300K as quickly as possible. Appreciate you.
Right, we got 25 votes just mentioning the poll. Thank you for taking the poll, you guys. We so appreciate it. Thank you so much. Keep tapping the screen. Tapping is clapping as we listen to the clips. Joanna is absolutely amazing. And thank you, Cootery. Thank you to all the mods. Thank you, Cookie. Thank you guys for everything you do. It is much appreciated. Okay, again, so thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it so much. So
Can I do a quick PSA on that shirt again?
Absolutely.
Would that be okay?
Oh, yeah. Let me pull it up for you.
So just a reminder for those of you just joining, we're supporting our friends Brett and Nikki Cross, who were assaulted by the Uvalde Sheriff's Department yesterday, and we're raising money for them to help cover a variety of costs. And that is a T-shirt that we're selling in our merch store. The sound of children screaming has been removed, is what it says. New motto for the United States of America. You can find the link in the link tree that's in my merch store. We've sold 83 so far today, raised over $750 for them, plus donations were over $1,000. All profits from the sales of these shirts, again, you'll find them in my merch store, will go directly to them. And that quote, the sound of children screaming has been removed, comes directly from a Fox News story when they broadcast the events of Uvalde from that particular day. The editor put on the screen, the sound of children screaming had been removed, but they left the sound of firearms going off in the background. So again, if anybody's interested, there you go, right there. So you can see editor's note, the sound of children screaming has been removed. Again, we laugh so we don't cry. But again, that shirt is in the merch store, which is in the link tree that's in my bio. Thank you guys very much. Thank you, Felice.
Amazing. Love Brett. I don't know how he can literally even get out of bed every day, but we are so glad that he's doing what he's doing.
Same.
I literally do not know. I can barely do it. He's amazing. What a fighter.
Agreed. Thank you for letting me do that, you guys. Appreciate y'all.
The Speaker of the House broke his word. That's why we're here. And to the gentleman from Missouri who just spoke, I've been here for a long time. You have never won a government shutdown, and you won't win this one either. Your currency in this institution is your word. We reached an agreement. We came to modest achievements. And a tweet changed all of it? Can you imagine what the next 2 years are going to be like if every time the Congress works its will and then there's a tweet? Or from an individual who has no official portfolio, who threatens members on the Republican side with a primary, and they succumb?
That's what we're in for. Imagine, they're not even in office yet. And if you, just one tweet, anytime the richest man in the world has a thought, the government's going to grind to an unelected official has
still
a thought.
A private citizen at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not going to divest from anything. He's definitely a private citizen. I mean, I thought that was a great point. Oh, and here comes Anna Paulina Luna. I told you everyone started yelling at her. Oh, Anna Paulina Lunatic in rare form.
Mr. Speaker, I've never actually voted for a CR, but I'm here today because I realize...
Let me preface this. She is a representative from Florida. Her constituents need the money from the disaster relief fund. Okay. Like, desperately. Like her district was some of the hardest hit.
Voted for a CR, but I'm here today because I realize that the plan that's on the table currently to keep our government open, but also the promise from the only president in my lifetime who's ever followed through on all of his campaign promises to the American people. Excuse me, I'm not done talking. Give me the same respect we give you guys.
Oh my gosh.
From the only president that's followed through. Yeah, that's the Democrats basically being like, what the f- are you talking?
What are you talking about?
Like, she's dead serious. Like, in what world? What type of cognitive dissonance for the only president who's ever followed through on his campaign promises? Are you f***ing kidding me? Like, they're serious.
It's the gaslighting.
That's what I say. It's like, okay, they're pathological liars, or they're out of their, they are painfully unintelligent, or it's a combination of both.
From the only president in my lifetime who's ever followed through on all of his campaign promises to the American people. Excuse me, I'm not done talking. Give me the same respect we give you guys.
The House will come to order. My colleagues are reminded the gentlewoman has the floor. She has the right to be heard. The gentlewoman has the right to be heard, and the gentlewoman would be reminded to direct her comments to the chair.
She can't also scream back at them. That also is not allowed. Like,
the gentlewoman from Florida is recognized.
From the only president in my lifetime who's fulfilled all of his campaign promises to the American people, has promised to cut hundreds of billions of dollars in reconciliation. You want to...
That's okay. So they're trying to say, hey, you're giving this bill, because Trump's trying to say, just add $5 trillion to the debt. And then he tweeted, truthed, we're going to make up billions of dollars in reconciliation, which he's not, but that's what he's saying. But $5 trillion, I don't care how many billions. Do you understand the difference between 5 trillion and billions? That's what happened with his tariffs. He's like, don't worry, the tariffs will make up for these like $1 trillion tax cuts. And guess what? They didn't. There's more from her. It was awful.
Pulled it from the floor, which is why we are here today. The deal on the table will keep the government open for the American people. And if you guys so choose to shut it down, it will be on you, but not the Republican Party. We will not be going back to the table. This deal stands as it is, so let you go back home on Christmas and explain to your people why you shut down the government, because we won't.
Says let you go back home. Like, what are you talking about? And you're gonna have to go back home. It's almost like she's projecting her own fate. You have to go back home and explain to your constituents what you're doing.
So here's the game, MAGA. Here's the game. So there's a truth from Trump. The United States will cut hundreds of billions of dollars in spending next year through reconciliation. That's what she's referring to. It's a challenge. We're not going to tell you. I want you guys to tell us what reconciliation is. Ready, go.
Yeah, they don't know what any words mean, for sure. They don't. Trump doesn't
Terry,
know
the
what
Democrats are the problem.
That's
right?
also like
Terry, explain this to us, Terry. How are the Democrats the problem? You guys have been yelling since the election that you are the majority party, so prove it. Pass some legislation. Good luck with that.
Yeah, and also, Trump thinks, or according to Trump, we're giving hundreds of billions of dollars of subsidies to Canada. Like, you could go to foreignassistance.gov and find out that's not true. Trump doesn't even know what a trade deficit is.
Yeah, and he told the European Union that they must make up the tremendous deficit with the U.S. by the large-scale purchase of our oil and gas. Otherwise, it's, ready for it, capital letters, tariffs all the way.
You know why he's doing that too? Because the global demand for oil is going down as everyone else switches to other forms of energy. And he did this whole drill baby drill thing. And the oil and gas executives are like, we don't want to drill anymore because it's going to lower the price per barrel of oil. So he's got to try to find people, you know what I mean, to raise their demand for oil. But they're not going to. We're moving off of oil, and it's a tightrope walk to keep the price per barrel above $60 in the U.S., or it's not worth it to drill. And
Yeah,
I'm
Felice,
saying this because I read an analysis on this. I'm not making this up out of nowhere. I literally read
Felice,
an analysis.
who are some of the biggest investors in sustainable energy?
ExxonMobil, British Petroleum. Yeah, it's those people.
Yeah, exactly. Those
It's
guys.
those people. That's why they're like, oh, we're getting off this. What are you doing? Things are good. We're in the sweet spot, as they said at that conference in London. That's what the ExxonMobil executives were saying. Yeah, they're like, things are going great. We're just going to hold it like this. Someone tell Trump, and Trump's trying to threaten people, like continents, to take more.
But didn't he promise the gas price? Didn't he promise the gas prices were going to go under $2, Felice?
Oh my! Please don't even get me started on him.
Yeah.
But this is Jared Moskowitz. Jared Moskowitz was so good yesterday, and he followed Lunatic, and was amazing.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, denial is not just a river in Egypt. Let's talk about the last 2 years. It was the Democrats who raised the debt ceiling, not the Republicans last time. Many of you voted against it. It was the Democrats who kept over the government, not once, not twice, but every single time we needed to keep the government open, it was the Democrats who kept the government open. More of us voted for it than you. And all I've heard for the last couple of weeks about it, this giant mandate, landslide, trifecta. Put on your big boy pants, pass your own bill. We're only here because you guys can't agree amongst yourselves. So hold on a second. Democrats will keep government open for the American people. We will mediate the disagreements between that side of the room and that side of the room. We will do that for you, but you got to at least invite us to that meeting. So if you want us to solve your problem because you can't agree amongst yourselves, reach out. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Time has expired.
That is some high-level dragging right there.
Yeah,
that's the best.
mean, they can't even understand how to effectively. It's just the average intelligence level from the left to the right. The swing is just so severe. Do you know?
Yeah, so remember, you guys, I go to Right Wing Spaces, so you don't have to. You're welcome. But when you're over there and you're watching lives and you're listening to people and they're talking about, oh, this is because that's the talking point we're going to hear from the right. It's the Democrats. It's the Democrats. You remind them who the majority party is. You remind them that they have the majority. If their party voted together, they could get this out of the House. They are the majority. Remind them of that.
Thank you for subscribing, Carrie. Guys, let's get to 350K, 400K before the live's over. I so appreciate your engagement. Tapping is clapping. Susan, thank you for the Cash App, I think it is. She said, I would tap more, but I'm driving Lyft and listening. Do not tap the screen, Susan. Hands at 10 and 2. Hands at 10 and 2. Stay alive. But thank you for listening, Susan, and thank you for all your support. Oh, and here's the moment. Okay, so Moskowitz is trolling everyone on the House floor, and here comes Chip Roy. And just if you're just joining, because there's some more people in here, guys, keep tapping the screen. Please gift Fax. Thank him for being here on Fridays at the People's Receipts. We so appreciate it. And this is the moment where Chip Roy, one of the only last actually fiscally responsible Republicans, gets on the House floor and starts screaming at Republicans, basically like, you guys are trying to add $5 trillion to the debt while we all sit here. Thank you for subscribing, Babs Soup. So appreciate it. Thank you so much. Awesome. Thanks for giving Fax a galaxy. More gifts for Fax,
awesome.
Please.
Appreciate y'all.
He's
Thank you very much. That
amazing.
was sweet. I missed it.
And let's listen to Chip Roy troll the Republican Party. And if you just joined, all day long yesterday, Trump was truthing about Chip Roy. They were like, Republicans are threatening him, trying to get him to vote for that bill yesterday. And this is when this is when he takes the House floor and starts screaming at everyone. I love those Christmas tree ones. As an ADHD person,
Fabulous. I was like, squirrel.
Awesome. Exactly. I'm like, what was that? Pretty colors. Thanks, Cookie. You're amazing. Tapping is clapping.
Fact of the matter is, $330 billion. Congratulations. You've added to the debt since you were given the majority again on November 5th. It's embarrassing. It's shameful. Yes, I think this bill is better than it was yesterday on certain respects. But to take this bill yesterday and congratulate yourself because it's shorter in pages, but increases the debt by $5 trillion is asinine. And that's precisely what Republicans are doing. I'm absolutely sickened by a party that campaigns on fiscal responsibility and has the temerity to go forward to the American people and say, you think this is fiscally responsible. It is absolutely ridiculous.
I love
Here's a little, for those of you who've never been into the House of Representatives before, by the way, you can learn a lot from the direction in which the person speaking looks. So he is a Republican looking to his right, talking to Republicans. So that should tell you a lot. That will give you an idea of who he's talking to, just in case you hadn't been there.
Well, so, good point. And if you guys don't know, Congress, especially the House, I mean, it is like the best reality show. You know what I mean? I like to watch trashy reality shows to turn my brain off and pretend late stage capitalism isn't overtaking us. And like, this is the best trashy reality show of all time. I mean, from the Republican side. And it's just like a trashy reality show meets like highly intelligent, mostly people who have passed the bar. It's like the most amazing juxtaposition. If you don't watch congressional hearings, if you don't watch the speeches on the House floor, I hope you get the point. Like, you can watch the people's receipts because I'm always going to be clipping them. It is better than sports, and I'm a Division I athlete. So
Preach.
It's amazing.
We have that in common too, don't we?
Oh, I love this part. Well. So these are the floor votes before they voted on that bill. It fails, right? But I don't know if you know how that works in the House, right? Really, whoever's the acting speaker is calling for the yays and nays, and he basically tries to pretend the yays have it, even though everyone's screaming nay. It's kind of funny. Yeah. This is the moment where the bill is failing.
Gentleman yields. The question is, will the House suspend the rules and pass the bill, H.R. 10515? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, 2/3 being in the affirmative, for what purpose does the gentlewoman from Connecticut seek recognition?
Guess what? I request a recorded vote.
Boom.
Tried to say that the yays have it, which is ridiculous because like 3 people said yay. So anyways, the bill died in the House after those debates. And this is the final vote tally too. It's 235 to 174 and 1 person voted present after the count. Then they electronically enter their votes after that.
Can you make that screen a little bit bigger? Again, this is what I was talking about earlier. Don't let them tell you that it's the Democrats that sank it. 38 Republicans, the majority party, sank it.
Yeah, in the nays, the 38 those are the people that sank it. And that's why, again, we were updating you guys, and it looks like they're saying there's not going to be a shutdown. Well, that must mean they've negotiated with Democrats, because the chances of getting all of these 38 to vote with the Republicans, I don't know how they're going to do it. They never vote together. They have never passed a budget yet. The 118th Congress, they're still on Nancy Pelosi's budget, passing CRs. That's what we're doing right now. They've never even passed a budget for 2 years.
It's funny that somebody said, why is it so close? Actually, in a tightly divided House, that's not close.
This is not close. This is a failure. This is a abject failure right here. Like, you shouldn't go to the floor if you don't have, in the words of Nancy Pelosi, the greatest speaker of all time. And I'm just by the numbers. Like, she never missed a vote. Like, you don't go to the floor without the votes, and you have a couple more in your pocket. But this is the legacy of the 118th Congress, the 118th Congress, specifically the House that the Republicans ran. They never had the votes, and they humiliated themselves on the floor again and again and again. They missed vote counts by 2. They missed them by 40. They can't do it. They can't count.
Right. Somebody in the chat just asked, what is a CR? Have you ever taken your audience through that before? What a CR is?
A continued resolution. It's just to continue funding the government is the easiest way to say it.
At the previous levels.
At the previous levels,
down the road.
If you don't tack anything extra on, right?
Exactly. Like $5 trillion.
Like, if you hear someone say clean CR, that means clean continued resolution. That means, hey, how we've been funding the government, we're going to continue funding it that way, and we're not adding any more spending. Right. That's a clean CR, because you can have a CR that adds some more things. That's what they're arguing about. They're mad because we were going to fund children's cancer research, and they're not having. They don't want us to help the kids with cancer.
They don't, or they don't want to feed school-age children, things like that. Yeah.
Okay, so this is Mike Johnson. The bill fails, and Mike Johnson is trying to do his pretend I'm blind, trying to get to his office without talking to the press. And they stop him, and they're like, "Can you please explain?" And then he tries to gaslight us all and blame the Democrats. You're the Speaker of the House.
Stop at the mic, sir, and explain what's going on.
Yeah, it is very disappointing that...
Camera, watch out. Watch out. Move back.
That's the full camera.
Sorry, thank you, sir.
Very disappointing to us that all but...
So we're almost to 350K. Please keep tapping the screen. There's 800 people in here. We can easily get to 400K if we all tap together. I appreciate it so much. Tapping is clapping.
Yeah, it is very disappointing that...
Camera, watch out. Move back.
That's the full camera.
Sorry, thank you, sir.
Very disappointing to us that all but 2 Democrats voted against aid to farmers and ranchers, against disaster relief, against all these bipartisan measures that had already been negotiated and decided upon. Again, the only difference on this legislation was that we would push the debt ceiling to January of 2027. I want you all to remember that it was just last spring that the same Democrats berated Republicans and said that it was irresponsible to hold the debt limit, the debt ceiling hostage. What changed? It is, I think, really irresponsible for us to risk a shutdown over these issues on things that they have already agreed upon. I think you need to be asking them the questions about that.
But what's the next step?
We will regroup and we will come up with another solution, so stay tuned.
Will you drop the debt limit demand? Will you drop the debt limit?
That's the soundbite. That's the soundbite that's going to be playing on Fox, on Newsmax, on OAN, and they're going to use that. Again, they're going to use that because their voters do not know how government works. In the House, you just need a majority unless you take it through outside of committee, which is a 2/3 vote issue. But that's what they're going to, that's why I asked Felice to show that slide earlier. 38 Republicans within their own party. People like Chip Roy said, no, we're not doing this shit. Not doing this shit. That's the reality.
Thanks for subscribing, Elaine. It is so appreciated. And then, so he says this, he's trying to gaslight us all. But even I'll say, because as someone who, I record all the 24-hour news cycle on Fox, I record the 24-hour news cycle on CNN. And I'll say, even this wasn't enough because they're so mad at Mike Johnson. They were calling for his head on Fox. And then I just want to show you guys. So then Jamie Raskin, who, if you don't know who Jamie Raskin is, he's the new head of judiciary. Right. He unseated Nadler for the head of judiciary. He could someday sit on the Supreme Court. He's one of the foremost constitutional scholars in the country. And man, is he sarcastic.
Where are you on this negotiation?
We had many weeks of negotiation with the Republicans. We arrived at a bipartisan legislative compromise. The Senate Democrats, the Senate Republicans, the House Democrats, the House Republicans, everybody agreed. And then it was blown up by Elon Musk, who apparently has become the fourth branch of government. And that's just an intolerable way of proceeding under representative democracy. So the Democrats are going to try to figure out how we can salvage the public good out of the wreckage that has just been foisted upon us.
But do you think that there's a scenario where you might regret rejecting a clean debt ceiling increase? I mean, that's what they've added to this.
We're going to discuss this in our caucus, and we'll figure out what to do. It's just horrific that they have thrust us into this kind of chaos already, and they haven't even taken over yet.
Some Republicans are saying they've done their part now, that what comes next is up to you, and if this doesn't get passed and the government shuts down, the Democrats are going to own this.
Yeah, they did their part by entering into a legislative compromise with us, which we negotiated over a several-month period. We arrived at the compromise, and that's what we've all been behind, and that's what we expect to go forward. So who is our leader, Hakeem Jeffries, supposed to negotiate with? Is it Mike Johnson? Is he the Speaker of the House? Or is it Donald Trump? Or is it Elon Musk? Or is it somebody else? So we got to try to figure out how to salvage some kind of public interest out of the wreckage that they've just put upon us. Thanks.
Again, as a reminder for folks watching, do not let them gaslight you. The Republicans hold the majority. If their party was unified, this would have been done.
They don't need any Democrats to move that bill out of the House. All they have to do is agree with each other. They have a clean majority.
Exactly.
They just cannot agree on anything. And now I just want to show you an example of what I mean by gaslighting, right? I immediately was like, let me check what Laura Ingram's up to. Like, this is dead serious. This is how they play it on Fox.
I'll say this, when you're going after one private citizen, even if it's Musk with all of his money, for exercising his First Amendment rights, you have no argument. And any attempt to pit Musk against Trump is just stupid. It's goofy.
Yeah, she basically spent like an hour attacking Democrats for calling him President Musk and saying, like, you just can't imagine what these people were talking about on Fox last night. But they all do hate Mike Johnson. They all do seem to agree that they don't like Mike Johnson. But truly, how could you attack the richest man in the world that since the election has gained hundreds of billions of dollars in wealth?
Just a reminder, and I think this is really, really important. And the work that Felice does for this show is incredible because you're not going to see this contrast side by side like we've been talking about. We showed you the vote count. 38 Republicans killed this bill. There was a bipartisan agreement agreed on by House Republicans, House Democrats, Senate Republicans, Senate Democrats, and Joe Biden that would have gotten this across the finish line so that government workers would have still gotten paychecks over the holidays. The Republican echo chamber, the right-wing machine, is going to tell you that it's the Democrats that sank it. No, it's the Republicans. They are in the majority. This is what they wanted. So don't let them own that narrative, please.
Well said. And that is how I see this. I see the world in patterns that I want to show the juxtaposition, the irony, and the part, they call it the sausage making, the part that no one understands, right? Like Republicans don't know how Congress works or how terrible the Republicans truly are operating inside it. The 118th Congress has been one of the least successful Congresses in history. They've done nothing. They've passed nothing. All they've done is fight each other while Democrats watch.
By the way, Felice, real life works in the chat said that you and I should take over Morning Joe.
Oh my God, we so should. That's so true. We
kind of do Monday mornings. That's our thing.
Yeah, Monday mornings.
We're counter-programming.
Absolutely. Monday mornings, 8 a.m. Eastern. We do 3.5, 4 hours of actual information, not, Mika and Joe trying to act like they're not, the donor class. Thank you, Dana. She said, thank you for sharing your giant, beautiful brain. Happy holidays. That is my favorite compliment. I love when people tell me I have a big brain. Do you know Summer Lee? Listen to Summer Lee. Summer Lee is one of the smartest people. She's a lawyer. She's on the Judiciary Committee. She's a genius. She is just like, if you love Jasmine Crockett, meet Summer Lee. The more, man, Summer Lee goes hard. And this is her right after, This is her right after
the vote. All right, so I just got off the House floor after voting down this half-baked, one-sided budget bill. Let's talk about how we got here. First, you gotta know, Democrats and Republicans agreed on a bipartisan budget deal to keep the government open. Then President Musk and his empty suit Donald Trump decided they wanted to
President Musk and his empty suit Donald Trump
shut the government down for fun. So now, to shield themselves from blame, House Republicans have abandoned that agreement and rushed through a one-sided last-minute bill. This partisan package isn't about protecting working families at all. It's about paving the way for tax cuts for the wealthy, is gutting Social Security and Medicare, and slashing critical programs like drug price reforms and cancer research. It excludes measures that hold powerful PBMs accountable for their prescription drug price gouging, tackle junk fees, and reauthorize and re-strengthen programs that serve our most vulnerable seniors and children and workers. Republicans are not serious about coming together to an agreement that keeps the government open and serves the people. They want a shutdown. And let me tell you what that'll actually mean, since there's a lot of disinformation out there, especially on Twitter X. A shutdown would have sweeping implications on everything from food on the table to safe holiday travel. In PA 12, almost 10,000 federal workers will be furloughed or forced to work without pay. And these aren't just like faceless government employees. There are neighbors. They're the ones who are making sure that our grandparents get their Social Security checks, and veterans can access their health care, and families can get housing assistance. Heading into the holidays, they're being asked to keep everything running without a paycheck. Over 10,000 people in our district, 2,200 of them babies, would lose access to WIC benefits if this shutdown drags on. These kids would be without food, and these families are wondering how they pay for a formula. Thinking about holiday travel, air traffic controllers and TSA agents would still be working, but without pay. That means workers would be calling off, which would lead to longer lines, more delays, and a whole lot less security. A shutdown means families could miss out on being together during the holidays. And Republicans delay government funding. Communities that were still recovering from the hurricanes and floods would be left to fend for themselves in the middle of a crisis. But here is, Elon Musk and Donald Trump spreading disinformation. He says a shutdown doesn't actually stop critical functions. And that's easy to say when you're worth $400 billion and you don't have to worry about missing a paycheck. Musk's other claims, they're also ridiculous. No, the former bill didn't fund a bioweapons lab. It funded pandemic preparedness.
Told everyone that. That's what he told people on X. He lied, and she's one of the only people to call it out. I love Summer Lee. If you don't know who she is, check her out. She's a force. By the way, thank you so much for helping me reach my subscription goal. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. I appreciate it so much.
Just as a reminder, the Special Supplemental Nutrition Program program Women, Infant, Children, known as WIC, serves to safeguard the health of low-income, pregnant, postpartum, and breastfeeding women, infants, and children up to age 5. Okay, so that's what they also want to cut.
Just in her district, there are 2,200 infants. That's what she said that will go without if the government shuts down.
Because the billionaires need their money, Felice. They need their money.
Yeah, and that's what she's saying. They all have private planes. They don't have to go into the airport and try to travel while TSA is working for free, while air traffic controllers are working for free. These people live outside of our reality.
And there wasn't $3 billion for a stadium. It was just a transfer of control for a DC site. And no, the bill didn't shield January 6th committee. It's about data rules. Musk's goals are obvious. It's to distract you from the real harm that this shutdown will cause. These budgets are moral documents. They show who our government values. And let me tell you this, no billionaire has ever fought for working families. Not Carnegie, not Frick, definitely not Musk or Trump. So it's up to us to fight. Keeping the government open, and yes, passing a bill that actually has within it funding for the services that we need is what we need to do right now. We cannot allow billionaires to distract us. We have to focus on what matters, ensuring that normal working class people have real representation in Congress rather than fulfilling the Trump oligarchy pet political project. And let's keep it 100. This is what an oligarchy looks like. This is why Elon Musk bought Twitter. This is why all of the things that we've been seeing have been building to this moment. Let's not fall for it.
Tam Band 77, you're absolutely right. The infants that they wanted to not be AB'd. The infants that now that they're here, the pro-life movement goes away.
They don't need food. Hey, force women to give birth. Take women's bodily autonomy. Take my ability to make decisions about my body without fear of coercion or violence, and then force me to give birth and then be like, oh, did you think we were going to help you feed that infant? Nope. Just kidding.
Nope.
Thank you for subscribing, guys. The Green Witch, thank you so much. I love Summer Lee. She's absolutely amazing. I'll bring you more clips of hers. She is a force to literally be reckoned with. Now, I just want to look, this is how Democrats in Congress are. They're extremely intelligent and well-spoken. Meanwhile, you know how I am. I had to just check in on Nancy Mace yesterday.
Before you do that, I just want to remind people of something real quickly, because these are the progressive voices that the Democratic Party has to highlight. This is how we win elections in the future, letting these people speak. Becca Balint, Summer Lee, Jared Moskowitz, Max Frost, people like that
Greg
that truly are
Casar,
progressive.
yes, absolutely. Yeah. Maxwell Frost, look it up. He got in a fight with Elon Musk yesterday on X, by the way. Maxwell Frost, Elon Musk is like threatening to primary him, and he's like, "Hey, you can try." He's like, "You could try." He's like, "I don't think you know what's going on in Central Florida. They don't really appreciate billionaires like you coming in and trying to push people around." Like, he posted the application to register for the primary against him. I was like, here you go. You're welcome to try. I love Maxwell Frost. If you don't know, he's like a first Gen Z congressman. He's amazing. Yeah, he's
the Parkland district, right? Isn't he from the Parkland district?
Yes, he was from the Parkland district. Absolutely. He's great. And here's Nancy Mace.
Vote on the foreign speaking of that, hold on. And then David Hogg is running for vice chair of the DNC.
Oh, I didn't know that. David Hogg, if you know, that's the poor kid who Margarine was following around, tormenting after he testified to Congress about Parkland. That's how Marjorie Taylor Greene got famous, by following around children who had experienced horrible trauma and tragedy and heckling them as they were leaving their congressional testimony. Yeah, you could look that up on YouTube. Yeah, well, Marjorie's known for her classy behavior.
Was I wrong about that, Francis? Moskowitz is from Parkland, not Max Frost. Maybe they just are in the same circles.
No, it's both. Yeah, somehow they both, like Maxwell Frost that's like his cause is school pew stuff. Yeah, it's both. Like, I don't know if he went to Parkland, but he has friends that did, that is both of their causes.
Just the connections to the community. He may not represent that district, but he just has connections to that community. But yeah, again, this is the future of the Democratic Party. We're watching it. I love it.
Yeah, amen.
Nancy. Your buddy.
Yeah, and meanwhile, this is what's going on on Fox.
Let's vote on the foreign aid. Let's vote on farm and agriculture. Let's vote on spending in the CR. Let's do it separately. Okay. This would have been a lot easier.
Right. I mean, but what have you guys been doing then for the last 85 days?
That's a great question. I've been filing a lot of bills legislatively.
No, but who's...
You know what Nancy's been doing? Nancy has been tormenting the trans community. And when she says I've been filing bills, Nancy Mace has been relentlessly talking about the bathroom. That's what Nancy Mace has been doing. Just in case, when she says filing bills, she's been talking about bathrooms and filing bills about bathrooms. That's
with her bullhorn.
Yeah, Nancy Mace cares about bathrooms. That's it.
It's a great question, though, from Jesse Waters. Imagine getting called out by Jesse Waters saying, "What have you been doing for the last 85 days?" Then, I mean, shit's
that's
bad.
One of the only
Jesse
times
Waters
I've ever seen him. I know, that's why I posted it, because I was like, "Wow, like, is he frustrated with someone? Like, what the?"
Someone said they couldn't hear that clip, Felice. Someone said they couldn't hear that clip. I could barely hear it myself.
I know it's a little quiet. I don't know why it's like that, but I could turn up the volume.
We can role play for you, Nancy. What have you been doing for the last 85 days?
I've been yelling.
I've been yelling legislation.
Yeah, exactly. I've been harassing the trans community and standing outside of bathrooms with bullhorns. Like, it's not. Yeah, I turned it up a little bit, so you should be able to hear it. Thanks for subscribing, Metalhead Grandpa. That's a cool name too.
Vote on the foreign aid. Let's vote on farm and agriculture. Let's vote on spending in the CR. Let's do it separately. Okay. This would have been a lot easier.
Right. I mean, but what have you guys been doing then for the last 85 days?
That's a great question. I've been filing a lot of bills legislatively.
No, but who's in control? Republicans have the House, right? So what has the Republican Party been doing for the last 85 days if they leave this to the last second and they can't even agree on it?
Well, this is what Washington always does. We've seen this movie before. It's kind of like Groundhog Day.
All right. So you do the same thing every time.
Getting dragged by Jesse Waters.
I know. Jesse Waters is Nancy Mace. I could literally take you guys on a slideshow of what Nancy Mace has been up to. I've been covering it on the People's Receipts. If you watch the show, we know exactly what Nancy Mace has been doing. Nothing. Asking her colleagues for bullhorns to go stand outside of the Capitol Police Force office and read trans protesters their rights, like nothing that has to do with this. And the answer is, yeah, they did for the last 85 days negotiate the bill that they went back on. That's because Elon Musk tweeted at 4 a.m. that nobody should pass it. That's what,
See, you won't hear, you won't see the audio, the video of Nancy Mace with a bullhorn going after the protesters at the Capitol in support of trans rights, but you'll see it right here in the people's receipts because Felice and Nancy May are bays. They're totally bays.
I know, just for sure. Now, this is not a joke, right? He had Nancy Mace on, and I don't know why he decided to yell at Nancy Mace. Then comes Mike Lee, the senator from Utah, and you are going, this is not a drill. Just tap the screen in rage as we have to listen to Mike Lee talk. And he's not kidding.
Historic moment, it's fallen apart. And as a result, somebody's going to have to lose their job over this. I don't think the speaker is going to remain in power. That's my prediction. I'm not in the House. If I'm correct in that, and I think I am, we need bold new leadership, outside leadership, and I think it needs to be a Doge speaker. It needs to be either Vivek Ramaswamy or it needs to be Elon Musk. Look, I was over here.
There it is.
Says it again. Like Jesse's like asking for clarification, and he's not kidding. This is, they might try it. They might try it.
For two people in our entire caucus in the Senate and in the House.
So you're officially nominating right here on Jesse Waters Primetime either Vivek or Elon to be House Speaker. Doesn't have to be a politician, could be anyone, can be Speaker. Do they want that job?
I don't know. Look, I'm a little bit skeptical. Elon is kind of busy. He's got like 54 companies that he's running and trying to get to the moon. I suspect Vivek is a little bit more open to it than Elon. I'll take either one of them. Vivek, Elon, if you're watching, please sign up. America needs you.
All right.
And based on our system of government, you do not need to be a member of the House to be the House Speaker. You just need a majority vote. You just need the majority vote.
Needs you. No, we really do not, actually. We took a vote.
Can anybody, I mean, honestly, can anybody take their party seriously when they would lie and blame everyone for their own issues and they want to now put a billionaire, an unelected, illegal immigrant who violated his student visa as the Speaker of the House?
Well, I have a video. By the way, I found a clip yesterday of Elon Musk's brother admitting that they were illegal when they started their businesses. And I don't know how I found it. Elon's own X algorithm delivered that gem to me. It's his brother. Yeah, so and Elon's trying to be like, no, we weren't. And he's like, yeah, we were.
It is a weird thing, but you do not need to be a member of the House. You just need to get the majority of vote. And yes, they would still be in the line of succession. So play that out. Play that out. Elon is number 2, 2 heartbeats away from the presidency.
Oh, that's true. What is the Speaker? Is it like third in line or fourth in line?
Second in line after the VP. Yeah.
Well, that's third. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because the president would not be. Okay. So it wouldn't be third. I get what you're saying. Hey, Joanna.
Hey, yeah, it's super weird. Like, sure, let's put a man who came over here as an illegal immigrant, as they like to call them. A man who got all his money from fraud with Alzheimer's medication. Sure, sounds perfect. Let's let him run the government. Although with Trump's cabinet, it does seem more like it's going to be Con Air when they get on that flight. But yeah, just wanted to come in for one more little commercial break. The taps are tapping, and I appreciate y'all. At this point, we're going to be at 500K before the live ends, and I love that for us. Let's keep tapping that screen. Y'all keep doing y'all big one on this Friday. We appreciate all this phenomenal information. If y'all want more access to the outline so you can see where all the information came from in real time, get a link to the Discord. We have lots of fun in there. It's so much intelligence over there.
This is my TikTok business account. This is just a TikTok account, Feliz Navidad Live. Just search for that account and message it and say, I'd like a link to the Discord, and we will get you one.
We absolutely will. We appreciate all the subscriptions. Y'all keep subbing. We appreciate everybody who has gifted subs. Thank y'all so much for the support. It's super appreciated. Thank you so much for all the gifts. Keep gifting. We have 3 more hand hearts to reach that goal. Keep gifting Facts too. We appreciate him a lot for being here and enjoying all the information and helping us break all this stuff down on this live today. The Cash App and Venmos for Fax and Felice are up on the screen. Faxes is down below. Felice's is up above. Yay, only 2 more hand hearts. If y'all haven't sent y'all heart me's, get that done too. And it's absolutely insane how horribly Brett and Nikki have been treated once again for trying to get justice and still haven't gotten any for their child who was unalived in Uvalde. It's crazy to me that the police outside yesterday were more turned and more protective and more aggressive with them than they were with the person that went in and unalived their kid. Exactly. It's absolutely insane the fact that the DA in Uvalde still refuses to give them Uzi sneakers from that day. Yet y'all can wrestle these parents to the ground because you're upset after you threw them out of the courthouse. It's nuts. But yep, thank y'all once again. Keep tapping, keep liking, keep sharing. Let's get those shares up to at least 900. Let's get these taps up to 500K. Once again, thank you, Felice, for all this information. And thank you, Fax, for being one of the best accomplices in the business.
Thank you, Joanna. Appreciate you very much.
So well said, Joanna. Man, you're like on fire today. Well, always. I know that. I have the pleasure of being your friend. So
yeah, to that point, apparently parents in Texas, parents of children who lost their life in a mass unalive event are now the threat in Texas. Just FYI.
Yeah, and I mean, this is rural or small police departments. I was reading a study about Texas, like small police departments in Texas and the corruption in them. Yeah, that's where it's concentrated. So let's not be surprised by what Brett and his beautiful wife are going through. It's a tragedy. And again, there's a T-shirt that you can buy to support Brett Cross. It is in Fax's link tree.
Leader Jeffries. Sounds of children.
Caitlin Collins, they were like outside Capitol Hill or on a balcony of Capitol Hill interviewing people after this vote failed yesterday. And it was quite interesting.
Leader Jeffries is exactly right on this. And I find it just laughable that the Republicans are saying, well, actually, the Republicans couldn't come together and cut a deal. But the Democrats should have gotten out there and saved their sorry butts and actually pushed through a deal. That's just nuts. The Republicans can't come together because they can't stick to the deal they originally negotiated.
Amen. Jesse Waters was like, what have you guys been doing for 85 days? They negotiated a deal and they went back on it. And don't ask us to help you when you double cross us. That's the point. It's not our job to save the Republicans from themselves, right?
Where do you who Senator Schumer should be calling and negotiating with at this point? Is it Speaker Mike Johnson? Is it Donald Trump? Is it Elon Musk?
Let me say this one more time. There is no one for Leader Schumer to negotiate with. The Republicans can't get their own act together. And until they can, there's nothing for us to do. We have a deal. There's a deal sitting on the table. You know what? The Republicans right now could go back over there and vote. Send the deal that had been negotiated, which would pass because it would have bipartisan support, send it over to the Senate. I predict it would pass the Senate and we would be done. Crisis averted. But the Republicans would rather have a crisis, would rather blow this up because they're all doing whatever the great and powerful Mr. Musk wants them to do.
Do you think there's going to be a government shutdown?
Ask Elon Musk.
I just can't. Like, I just love it. Like, this is the most cohesive and fired up and, like, you know, joined together. They all want to leave Washington, but they're all there doing this. Like, they were on Capitol Hill until like midnight last night. So, like
Elizabeth
I'm saying,
Warren,
sometimes
another teacher.
Yeah, exactly. Another teacher, me, a former teacher. It's true. Don't piss teachers off. But yeah, I mean, yesterday was a day to be proud of the Democratic Party. Truly. Agreed. They were in rare form. Now listen to these are the people that voted no. These are like Tim Burchett. These are the 38 that voted no. And Manu Raju is asking them about that.
Stinks. That's why America doesn't trust government, and it's for good dadgum reason.
And you said shut it down.
That's what it takes to bring us to the table.
Any extra supplemental ought to stand on its own merits and not be attached to it, and it ought to have pay-fors, and the debt limit must not be increased without commensurate spending cuts and fiscal reform.
When I ran for office, I said that I would not vote to raise the debt ceiling, and so I've never voted to raise the debt ceiling. And I love Donald Trump, but he didn't vote me into office. My district did.
You want to shut it down?
I'm not afraid of a shutdown.
And you're hearing some of those members saying they are not afraid to go to a government shutdown. So where does this go from here, Jim? It is really uncertain because the Democrats said they had a deal on the table that Donald Trump essentially forced to collapse. Then now what? No one really knows, which could mean a shutdown by midnight tomorrow night and a prolonged one at that.
Are there any updates on this that you see? Like, let's look what the latest.
No.
I know it's just we're still waiting for them to. With shutdown, here's the latest update. It's like literally 22 minutes ago. The last update. Musk voices skepticism on Johnson's latest plan. He's doing it again in real time. Musk is doing it again.
Yeah, they're scrambling. Thomas
Elon
Massey
Musk
of
has
Kentucky.
inserted himself into the House Republican drama once more. This is 20 minutes ago. Moments ago,
They're going after Mike Johnson. Yeah. So Thomas Massey of Kentucky called Speaker Mike Johnson's handling of the situation, quote, not that great.
Yeah, moments ago, Musk questioned on social media platform he owns whether Speaker Mike Johnson's latest plan, a vote on Thursday's failed bill without a provision raised the debt ceiling, is a Republican bill or a Democrat bill. They're calling him a rhino. They're calling Mike Johnson a rhino. Here we go.
So they're going to be voting again at some point this hour.
No, they have to vote before the night's over. They have to at least try. Like they have to try to get it out of the House.
Yep. Dan Crenshaw of Texas, also frustration with Trump's last minute decision. Tim Burchett,
they crucified Dan Crenshaw. Cat Turd identified Dan Crenshaw yesterday on X as the Republican that wanted the pay raises. And then they had all the MAGA who has no idea what's going on attacking him, and Dan Crenshaw's like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yeah.
Yeah, Dan Crenshaw.
This is it. This is what happens. This is why. This is what you voted for, MAGA Republicans, conservative Republicans. This is what you voted for. You voted to have the triumvirate. You voted to have all three branches. You've got it. And leadership is hard. And you can't organize your caucus. You are denying the American citizens. You're going to put people out of work. You've lied to them repeatedly. You're going to try to blame people, and you can only blame yourself. And we're watching it happen in real time. This is where we're at. This is where we're at. Sadly.
Thank you for subscribing, Miss Terry. Thank you so much. It kind of is like a triumvirate or a troika. If you describe it's not just Vance and Trump. It's Elon, Trump, and
backed up by the courts too. That's the one.
Oh yeah. Well, of course, supported. But I mean, I'm not talking about branches of government. I'm just talking about the fact that Elon has now inserted himself, and it's not a president and vice president. It's like a troika. Even though Vance doesn't really have any power. I don't know who the third one is. It's probably not Vance. Thank you for subscribing, Swish. Appreciate it so much. So here comes Mike Lawler, who's in a swing district, and I was really hoping was not going to get reelected. And McCormick again talking about how dare poor people, get SNAP money. Wow, that's my ADHD.
Those damn poor people. Those
rocket
damn
ship.
Poor people.
Thank you so much for the gifts, for the pretty gifts. Yeah, that's why the Republicans, they've learned nothing except, hey, we really got to take more from the poor. You know what I mean? That's the lesson at the end of last night. Hey, you guys, the poor have too much in this country.
It's still an omnibus. You take a continuing resolution, you add money to it. I've always voted against a continuing resolution. I'm staying consistent with my thought process. We promised to do something new in this Congress. Since I've been in Congress for 2 years now, we still have money. You want to know why FEMA went bankrupt, why I couldn't afford these hurricanes? Because 40% of it in 2024 went towards COVID relief. 40% in 2024. And guess what we just voted to do again? Put another 40% in 2025 towards COVID. The pandemic's been over for 3 years, and we're still misappropriating funds to the wrong places. That's why we have to do emergency bailout. That's why SNAP consumes most of the agriculture budget, because we don't have a spine to do what's right.
Wow.
People are out of their minds. Like, truly.
Just sit there and just lie and gaslight. Listen, please, I have to leave.
I know. Wrap. That was the last clip. Like, I know, we're already back at the beginning. I know. We went a little longer. Thanks for staying an extra 30 minutes. Guys, Fax and I will be back literally on Monday morning, first thing. What's our topic again? Oh, yeah. The Musk administration.
Yes, the Musk administration.
Long
that
live
is the swamp.
Musk administration.
Exactly. I want to thank you guys very, very much. Last plug, if I could, for to help our friends Brett and Nikki Cross. The link is in the link to my merch store is in the link tree in my bio. That shirt right there. And it's a powerful message. The sounds of children screaming have been removed. That comes from the Fox News report on the day of the Uvalde massacre. And they literally had an editorial note on the screen that said the sounds of children screaming have been removed. All sales, there you go, right there. Thank you, Felice. All profits from all sales of that particular shirt will go directly to Brett and Nikki. The last check, we're over 85 shirts sold so far. We're probably approaching $1,200 for them. We'll leave that shirt in my merch store indefinitely. Again, thank you for having me. It's been great. For those of you, who don't know, you've never seen Felice's outlines. It's an honor to be part of this. The amount of work that she puts in to provide this information for you all, you should thank her because it's incredible. Thank you so very much for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you, mods. Thank you, guys. You're incredibly kind people.
Thanks for subscribing, Deb. It's much appreciated. And like I said, 8 a.m. Eastern, I will be on Faxes Live and we'll be talking about the Musk administration. So everyone have a good weekend. Turn off the TV. Don't think about politics for at least 24 hours. Get some rest. We're going to be back on Monday and we will see you guys then. Thank you so much for all your support. Thank you, mods. Couldn't do it without you. Love you guys and see you Monday morning on Fax and Felice on Mondays.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.